Part two. All right, hold on. Because we had so much fun last time, didn't we? We just had so much fun. We had to circle back now.
Gorgeous.
I did say we
I
was gonna do
got
a
in
part. We
trouble
had to circle back.
yesterday. I got in trouble. You BX stop. When I was going off on Castle, I don't like when they pull me out of character like that.
It's just such a rare opportunity that we were able to get Castle up here, honestly. Because normally he be ducking.
He's
So I'm all
fine.
like, hey, Castle's up here. Let's not waste this moment. Because to be honest with you, and y'all can tell I kind of enjoy this. He's like a formidable foe for me. I feel like I'm some type of boxer, and I'm like, I finally found a rival. But that's what it felt like. But all jokes aside, the way he speaks, the way he puts the information. If you were new to the app or new to politics or Black history, you would believe it because he puts it together very well. You know, I don't know too many. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know too many people smarter than that. So I enjoyed that because that was a good chance to challenge pretty much their best and beat them fair and square. Okay. I didn't want him to be all like, oh, y'all keep muting me, man. Y'all keep muting me. I can't get a word out. I'm gone. And then he leave when he know he losing. I wanted it to be a clean defeat. Once he started trolling with the I'm FBA self and FBA self the best and all that, I'm all like, okay, cool. That means you lost. That's you throwing a little trolling temper tantrum right now. Oh, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Don't worry about it. It's on YouTube. Go to For the Culture on YouTube because it was up there. It was up there. That was a good little 30 something minutes, 30, 40 minutes maybe.
You was in the zone. Then I asked, could Simon come up? You was like, not right now. I said, yeah, Afro's in his zone. You can't mess with Afro when he's in his zone, his debate. I'm not a debater. I do want to debate, but because I just crash out,
Oh,
And you know what I realized, Afro Lee? I realized that New York City, my generation raised the crash outs that we see today on this app. We did that. We gotta take the heat for that. Peace to the room and everybody saying what's up to BX. ZZ, they saying what's up to you and Afro Lee too.
How y'all doing? Yeah, I mean, everybody's not a debater. There's some of the smartest people I know don't debate. They just don't like debating. There's people who don't debate because you have to put yourself in that position mentally, and there's people who just don't enjoy debating. They just don't like it. It just gets under their skin or whatever. Unlike me, I enjoy it. I like it. I like it. And I think it's really helpful. Not that everybody needs to be a debater, but it's really helpful to have 2 points be challenged at the same time. Okay. So that way it's not like I'm making a video about him, he's making a video about me, I'm making a video about him, he's making a video about me. No, both of our points and both of our arguments are being challenged in real time. And we both have to stand by what we're saying in real time. So, a lot of people, especially them, they can't really do that, which is why you haven't seen Amazing Lucas. You haven't seen him, post that debate that me and him had. Because he can make whatever response videos he made after he thinks about it and after he's discussed it and chat GPT stuff. But on the spot, he can't do that. Because the logic that they're using is too inconsistent. And that's what we're saying. The reason why he lost is because he's trying to paint us to be Trump supporters. Oh, y'all MAGA, y'all Trump supporters, and MAGA don't care about black people either. And that's the thing. Y'all saying about the Democrats, da 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 da, but MAGA's over here doing this. And the reason why he lost and can't win is because anytime he talks about MAGA, I'ma say, I agree. Every time he talks about MAGA, I'm gonna be all like, okay, yeah, I'm not MAGA either. And we can talk about MAGA all day long. We already talk about MAGA. So it's not like we're like low key on the conservative Trump supporters or anything like that. So now you have to stand off of the Democrats. That's what it is. Even though he says he wasn't supporting them, he was. You got to stand off that strength alone. You can't deflect to talking about how bad MAGA is because we're not MAGA. So you're not attacking our stance. Our stance is about being black first, which is not Democrat. All right. That's the thing. And you can't stand on being a Democrat. They can try to make the argument, well, Democrats are better than Republicans. And the thing is that if we're not defending the Republicans and if we're holding both of them to the same standard, he's gonna lose. Because notice every time I said, now, when it comes to anything productive that happened under the whole 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration, you're gonna give that to Biden-Harris. Now, anything productive that happened under the Trump administration, you're gonna find a way to say, well, Trump didn't really do that. It wasn't really Trump who did that. So I'm like, do you see? And in real time, I was able to expose the fact that he's tipping the scales in favor of the Democrats. So I think that was very beneficial. That was really good. I like that.
But wait, hold on. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, we'll
It's
get. Yeah,
okay
you're sorry for what?
because you can. Because when it comes to Biden, you can see that they like black businesses, Inflation Reduction Act, American Rescue Plan, COVID relief. You can see that they allocated these funds specifically to black small businesses or black
But brother, no, okay, I'm gonna let you finish. I
when
was
it
so
comes to
early. I
appointing
like
the
this. Oh yeah.
when it
Okay.
comes to appointing the most female black judges, you can see that that was his agenda. When it comes to the funding for the colleges, when it came to the big beautiful bill, they didn't even have HBCUs included. I forget the lady who had to ask them to include the funding for the lifetime funding that they had proposed in a big beautiful bill. I
Okay.
mean, like, come on, man.
Well, here's the thing. When you're talking about Trump's lack of support for the black community, I'm not going to refute that. Like I was saying before, I'm not a Trump supporter. So you getting up here talking about Donald Trump or the GOP, that's not going to bother me, not one bit. But let's talk
Okay.
about what you were talking about as far as Joe Biden and his, I guess, things he's done for the community. Him
Okay.
supporting, him appointing black female federal judges. What does that do for the community specifically?
Okay. So a
What
lot
does
of
black faces in high places do particularly that benefit the collective? Because the thing is that a lot of people like to talk about, well, that person, he helped that person. And there are individual people who get to climb the ladder, but the
Mhm.
collective is still at the bottom.
Right.
And
So a
there's
lot of
nothing that elevates the collective of the community, but they'll pinpoint, well, look at Ketanji Brown Jackson. So come on now, Biden did look
so
out. No,
so
we
a
can't
lot
do that.
so a lot of things aren't handled at the supreme level, and they get brought down to like the lower levels. And as a black man, if I just love to see if anybody was going to judge me, I would want it to be a black woman, and I'm pretty sure you would agree with that. If there was anybody who you would, if you had to handpick to judge you, would you pick a black woman, or would you, or I mean, like, come on now, like
Okay.
that's someone who's going to sympathize with
That's
you the
debatable
But
for
that's
most.
the
sure.
thing. You're assuming because they're black
Right.
that they're going to have more leeway to you or understanding or sympathy to you. We can look at Ketanji Brown Jackson's history with her rulings before when it comes to black situations, and she has not voted in black people's favor. She has not ruled in black people's favor. We can't just make the assumption that, well, a black judge is going to look out for black people. That's not how that works. We
That's
see a lot of black judges like Ketanji, who's married to a non-black man who's black in skin only, and does not
Right.
operate that way in any other circumstance.
Candace
Good point.
Owens.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But at the end of the day, it wasn't just like a one-off, that's like a one-off. Now I'm pretty sure you could probably maybe be able to educate me on more than just one, right? But at the end of the day, that is a good point. But I just loved that he did that.
Okay, let me ask you, if because somebody's bringing up a good point in the chat room. If Joe Biden appointed a bunch of judges, but all of the judges were exactly like Candace Owens, how would you feel about that?
I wouldn't like it. I don't really like
But
Candace Owens
okay,
because
so
Candace Owens has
it's just about
shown,
the race then.
but Candace Owens has shown multiple times. Candace Owens is like a Ben Carson. Candace Owens thought she was going to get a spot with Trump and
Okay,
ridiculed this black woman because she thought she was going to get a spot.
yeah,
She danced for it and everything, and she didn't get it. Now she wants to run against them
yeah.
and expose them. So no,
Well, we're not supporters of Candace Owens either, but I'm just saying that.
right? No, I see what you're saying, and
Yeah, but
I get what you're saying.
uh-huh.
This conversation would be a lot better if I knew more about, because everything that I brought up, the judges is the least that I know about, to be honest. And so I can't really have that conversation with you. I just know that out of everything that I brought up, that's the least thing that I have
What else did you bring up before? Because we got a panel full of people.
HBCU funding,
Okay,
black businesses. Go ahead.
Okay, HBCU funding. In Trump's last administration, there was an increase in HBCU funding.
So his amount, okay, so you got to say, so so like, let's say if it's 2 million, right? He presented that he funded HBCUs 2 million, right? But it was actually in a group of what went to Ohio State or Texas. That was it was presented like it went to HBCUs, and then when you look at the amount that went to HBCUs, it amounted for like $8 per
Okay,
student.
well let's keep that logic. Continue then.
So then Biden comes into office, and specifically, that funding went to HBCUs.
Okay,
When
well we'll check that. But what'd you say about businesses or something like that?
So businesses under the Biden administration, small black businesses were growing at like a 5% rate.
Okay.
Through Biden's policies, they started growing at 11%.
Okay. And through y'all say a lot of through Biden's policies, and y'all can't really substantiate that was through Biden's policies. But let's say it is. But hold on. With the logic that you just used with HBCUs, we're going to apply that same logic to small black businesses, because that was not a particular increase in only small black businesses, black American businesses.
Right,
that was
that's
an
true.
increase in a small private owned businesses in general. Okay. And black American owned businesses got the least of what was given to everyone else.
Wait, hold on.
Asians got a bigger, when it comes to the subsidies and the benefits and things that were rolled out under the Biden and Harris administration, Asians got a big surplus in finances. So did Hispanics. And you had Arabs who got that. You had a whole bunch of other ethnic groups of people who got a lot of subsidies and help when it comes to their business, to start up businesses and to keep their businesses afloat under his administration. When you actually look at the numbers, not just as far as businesses, but as far as government contracts as well too, black people got the least of that. With the same logic that you're saying, under the Trump administration, which I'm not a Trump supporter, but under the Trump administration, I'm gonna let you ask. But under his administration, black people or HBCUs got the least of the school funding. I didn't refute that. I said, okay, we're going to use that logic. But do you see how, when it comes to arguing about the Democrats and Republicans, there's an inconsistency when it comes to the logic there. There's a bias that has people tip the scales in favor of the Democrats. So therefore, anything that benefits black people at all, even if it disproportionately benefits other groups of people, that's not going to be spoken of. We're just going to talk about it like Biden was really looking out for black people. Okay. And if it was under the Trump administration or any of Republican administration, then we're going to look at things in a more unbiased lens, in a more clear lens. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You know what's sad? So there was no historic growth in the Asian community when it came to businesses. There was a historic growth in money that was allocated in the black business sector. So are we that far behind that the little that, as you presented, was out, as you said, was allocated to us was record breaking? Are we that far behind?
We that repeat that question so I can fully understand.
So there was no record breaking business growth for anybody else. Everybody else, yes, people grew, but when it came to record breaking, when it came to something that we haven't seen before, we saw that in the black community when it came to small businesses. Now, are we that far behind that when it
Unfortunately,
comes? Unfortunately,
unfortunately,
so isn't it? So
okay, I'm gonna
hold on.
let you finish.
So my ideology is it's great that we got somewhere.
Well, and here's the thing. When you say it's great, factor everything in. Don't just factor, well, if it happened under, like anything that happens productive under the Biden administration, the W must be given to Biden. Could it not have been the fact that after there was massive, uh, statewide, nationwide, George Floyd uprisings, and everybody was talking about black issues and black empowerment, there was an incentive for black people to go support other black businesses, especially because of the pandemic, which was closing other businesses down. Because of that, there was a cultural, it did not come from Biden or Harris. There was a cultural shift where black people, black Americans started to prioritize black businesses.
So were you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't really, that's like a different, like that's a different topic because right now, because we were originally talking about government funding. Now, when it comes to
No,
support,
no, because
and
you're
wait,
talking about the
hold on.
overall. You were
Okay,
talking about
so
the result, the overall
so
increase, and I'm saying that
hold on,
you have to
hold on.
factor everything in.
I know. And like I said,
Hmm.
factoring everything in is another topic. So when you factor everything in, it sucks because when you start to put tariffs out there and they already, small businesses already have a hard margin to work with, and you start to factor in tariffs, it sucks because I'm pretty sure that 11% that grew maybe aren't even around because of when you start a small business doesn't mean you're going to last forever, or doesn't mean your first runoff is going to be great. And when you start to factor in tariffs across the board, hell, we've seen companies that have been around forever go under and go bankrupt. So it's a shame that we gotten that far, but when it comes to support, I mean, yeah, but I'm not, when it comes to support, I'm not talking about support. I'm talking about it's a good thing that with this Biden administration that we got somewhere. I can pinpoint in history and say, hey, look, this is the change. This is when things started changing for
Okay.
the black community and small businesses, right, in that
Uh,
sector.
well, the thing is that we first off, we're very resilient people culturally. We're always getting somewhere. We're always doing something. There's always some type of accomplishment under all administrations. There was accomplishments despite even when there are setbacks, there was accomplishments being made during the Great Depression for black people. There was accomplishments being made during Trump's first term, during Biden's term, during Trump's second term. There's always accomplishments being made, but can those accomplishments be credited to the presidency?
So what
Okay.
accomplishments there in Trump's term?
There was an increase in HBCU attendance. There was a decrease in black unemployment. Black unemployment had it broke a record low. There was
Hmm.
a increase in black businesses with tax breaks and things. There was black businesses that flourished under certain tax cuts and things like that. Off the top of my head, I can name those things. There was the First Step Act. And I'm not no Biden supporter, but I mean Trump supporter, but I can name those things off the top of my head.
So
Those
the
are things, and I'm not saying that Trump is pro-black. I'm not saying that,
hmm
but those are things that were
that
accomplished.
benefited. Yeah,
Okay.
that. So yeah, like the first step that actually what so when that was brought to him, when it came to the sentencing and stuff, they actually used a model from 2018 that Obama came up with.
Don't
They
matter.
just
Don't matter. Don't matter. Hold on.
hold
That
on.
don't matter. That don't matter because he modeled a lot of his Affordable Care Act from what it was Bush.
Project 2020 from Bush. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
so we're not gonna no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
hold on.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is yeah, they
Romney, not
like
Rom.
what
It wasn't Bush. It was
what
Romney. Let me correct
it was
myself. Go
Romney.
ahead. It wasn't Bush.
Okay,
It wasn't Bush.
so
Go ahead.
with Bush it was his expansion of the tax codes.
Okay.
Um, so, but what I was saying was with Trump, yeah, he signed it and stuff. But when the people what they were modeling it off of, because I'm not saying Trump modeled it. What I'm saying is when they brought it to him to sign, what it was modeled after and what they got their ideas from. Now,
My brother, I'm not going to disagree with you.
okay, and
I
then
don't think that that's the point though. Because that standard of, well, it had to be originally drafted by this administration, you didn't give to the Biden administration. You didn't put that standard of, well, it can't be modeled after another policy or legislation. You didn't give that standard to the
okay,
Biden administration.
so what policy though from the Biden administration? Because if you can name one, yeah,
You just gave a list of policies as far as giving more money to HBCUs and things of the sort. You just
yeah,
listed a
he
bunch of things.
so he
Hold
copied
on, bro.
Trump.
Hold on. You listed a bunch of things that happened under the Biden administration, and you said,
Hmm.
"Well, this is a W for Biden." I said, "Okay. Well, if we're going to use that standard, do you see how the standards start shifting? If we're going to use that standard, then we have to apply that standard across the board." You understand? That's
So
what I'm
no, I
saying.
see what you're saying, but the problem is I don't. So the problem is it's my fault. The problem is I'm seeing the Biden administration like that was their agenda with the Trump administration during the first term. That wasn't his agenda. These were things that were brought to him. That was that was his administration's agenda when these plans were coming out. So yes, Trump did fund the HBCUs. He said, I'm gonna do it better. Okay. But when it came to the small businesses loans, it's not like he saw somebody else do that first. No, this was his agenda of said, we're going this is a thing that I'm doing.
All right, all right. Let me ask you this before we move on and get everybody's thing, because there's a lot of people who probably want to speak, and I want you to stay. What is their agenda now for Black people, for Black Americans specifically?
Well, they're not in office right
I mean,
now.
but they're running. They're running. It's the midterms coming up later this year. They're gonna run again in 2028. So, what is the Democrat agenda now? Their platform now?
I'm not a
Not
Democrat.
here in California.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not a Democrat. I couldn't tell you what every Democrat's agenda is. We gotta.
but
I'm
what
right
is? I
there
mean,
with
but
you.
you generally know the party's agenda, though.
I mean, when it comes to general parties, it's for all. It's raise taxes on people who make certain amount of money. It's expand access to programs for people who don't make as much money. I mean, that's just the general base.
Okay. Now, for Black people, what is their agenda for Black people?
So that helps all. So like when unemployment reached an all time low in the United States under a Democratic rule through policy, not only were Black people on government assistance, all of America was off of government assistance. Well, there were less Americans on government assistance, not just Black people, but everybody. When Black unemployment reached the lowest rate ever in American history, right after Trump hit that landmark. Just because. black people, saying, see when it comes to black people,
Mm.
everybody benefits when we benefit. So just unfortunately, we don't always benefit when certain groups benefit.
Why is that?
But
And why is that? Don't you think that's wrong?
Afro, Lord Afro,
you,
you
Don't you
you
crazy.
think that
know,
that's
when it
wrong?
comes to
Don't you
the
think
Demo,
that that's wrong that everybody is eating off of us, but we don't get to eat off of anybody else's benefit? Why
Hey, Afro
don't you think
Lee,
that
you
that's wrong?
can I chime in real quick?
Hold on.
I hate that, and I hate that. I
Okay.
would, and I would love to vote for a Republican. I would love to, but they don't. It's like they don't look out for us.
The
When it comes to
Democrats,
when
but
it
the
comes to
Democrats
progression.
do. But the Democrats do.
What are some policies that Republicans look out for the Black American, or
First
what's their
off, getting rid of a whole bunch of illegal immigrants, that's a help.
So actually, so that's not policy, that's just law. And if we look at who gets rid of illegal immigrants the most, Biden and Obama and Bill Clinton was way better at this than Trump. And then
Biden was better at border security, is what you're saying, than Donald Trump.
so when it comes to border security, only four. Okay, so look, you have to. Okay, so look, it goes back to the context that you were speaking about earlier.
Okay.
So we came out of C-19. The whole world was messed up. The whole world saw illegal immigration, not just the United States. Europe saw it. I think even Australia saw it. What Biden did was, because through sanctuary law, Article 8, they could come into the United States on a paper plane. Once they step foot, if they are seeking asylum, they have up to a year. Because yes, you have to seek asylum through a port of entry, but you have up to a year to prove that you did that or not. So we had a whole bunch of people coming into this country because you cannot put a fence across Texas all the way to California, through New Mexico, Arizona, all that's going to be open. So what we saw is states taking all these people and having to take care of these people so that we don't see a bunch of people on the roads starving, unaliving because of the heat and blase, right? But so what Biden did was he did legal migration. When you do legal migration,
Mm.
companies are able to get out visas. People are able to apply. They paid through federal and state paid over 400 billion. Yes, it collectively as a country it cost us 100 and maybe 80, 190, whatever billion, but collectively through green card holders, people on visas, people who are invited to work here, they pay collectively through state and federal over $400 billion, and that's not even including what the undocumented, because undocumented can pay taxes too. So they paid collectively close to 5 billion in taxes, and that's I believe in 2023 alone.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna
That
move.
fund
I
programs for the
appreciate.
Black
I
Yeah,
appreciate
community.
please do.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas, I appreciate this. I want you to say I'm not gonna kick you off, but we do got to be fair to everybody, and we do got to let him. Everybody else go ahead. But I will say, they were not that Biden did allow them to come in. Okay, Biden allowed that. When Biden revoked Donald Trump's executive order, the stay in Mexico executive order, that forced them to, even if they were applying for asylum, they would have to stay in Mexico until their court date. Okay, Biden, as the president, okay, so he runs the executive branch of government, he revoked that, which allowed them to apply for asylum. Before they got approved, they were able to stay in the United States, which is why you had hundreds of thousands, up to the tune of millions of them applying and then coming to the United States. So much so, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, because a lot of them were coming through Texas, he tried to put a chain around the border to keep them from coming in. And Biden sent the National Guard to break the chain and
Mhm.
prevent them to have any type of barrier to come in. Biden sent them there to remove the barriers, allowing them to come in. After he did that, Then, because this happened in like the beginning of August, in 2022. After he did that, then Greg Abbott was like, "Fine, then y'all, if you gonna let them come in, I'm sending them someplace else. They're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
stay here in Texas." So that's where they got the buses, and they were sending them to New York, and they were sending them to Chicago, and they were
Mm-hmm.
sending them to California. I remember because at the time, Lori Lightfoot was the mayor and she was running, and she was all like, well, this is gonna, and Eric Adams was the mayor as well too. This is gonna be a temporary thing. We're just gonna see this is gonna be a thing up until the end of the pandemic. When
Mm-hmm.
this extended past the pandemic, people started panicking. The money started drying up. That's why Eric Adams started talking all kind of somewhat at the side of his neck, like, hey, what is the plan with this? Biden stopped sending the states money, so the states had to pull their own pockets out and
Mm-hmm.
start subsidizing them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you had states like cities like New York rather, and Chicago. They had to pretty much go on a hiring freeze and bankrupt and raise the taxes to balance out the budget, because they were spending all of this money on illegal immigrants, and that was because of Biden. At
So
any point in time, Biden could have reinstated that executive order and sent them back. But
so
Biden allowed all of them to come in here, and particularly in the black community. All right. So this is our
hold on.
issue.
Okay, so only 14%, just keep in mind that only 14% of the people who came to the border got through the border. You have to keep that in mind because yes, the numbers did look crazy or whatever, right? But also too, Greg Abbott was very disingenuous. He sent all these people to places that couldn't. Greg Abbott could hold them because at the border,
They
Greg
shouldn't be
Abbott,
in the states, period.
you can't stop anybody from coming into the states because they're coming around the border too. They're not coming just through the
If
ports
they
of
come
entry.
into the states illegal, because there is a pathway, there is a legal pathway, and
Yes,
we are gonna have, because I can do this all day, and I can see you can too, but we got to be fair to everybody else. But if there is a legal pathway to enter the United States. There is. People make it
correct.
seem like there isn't. There
No,
is a
no,
legal
no.
way. Anything outside of that should be an automatic deportation.
But against the but sanctuary law though prevents you says that it doesn't matter once they step foot once they get a certain amount of feet onto American soil. If they say they're seeking asylum, there's nothing you can do. That's why Trump had this problem during his first term, right? During his first term, his first year, border crossings started to go up. Third year, they started getting even higher. Third or second year got higher. Third year, they got into the millions. And Greg Abbott was putting like these little floaty balls in the Rio
Hmm.
in the Guadalupe River,
Hmm.
which is illegal, and they were drowning. And so
They shouldn't be. Okay, sir.
but okay, and they shouldn't. They
Crossing the
should, and
border.
the thing is, we can agree they shouldn't. But with sanctuary law, Article 8, you can't you can say, hey,
He
don't
don't
come
know
over
much
here,
where
but
he
you
was at.
can't stop them from coming over here because
Yes,
Okay,
once they
stop,
get
stop
on,
right
yes, you
there.
can,
Stop right there,
because, and I'm gonna
Lucas.
say this, and then we're gonna move. I'm sorry, BX. I'm gonna say this.
No,
You can, because when Trump put the Remain in Mexico order that was challenged
that's through the
in the
port of
courts, it was
entry.
wait,
challenged in the
Lucas.
courts, and they said actually it does apply, because if you prevent them from coming here in the first place, as the article says, once they get into the country and claim they're seeking asylum, then you have to
That's not,
go by
bro.
their asylum process. If that
They
is what
no,
happened,
no, no. They're
no,
applying
sir, that
asylum at
is
the
what,
port of
sir,
entry. They're
don't do
going
that.
around the
No,
port of
Listen,
no.
entry. That's what
hold
If
we're
on,
you
talking
hold on. I'm
block
gonna
about.
mute
all
you,
points
Lucas.
of
Lucas,
entry, if you
I'm gonna mute
block
you for a
all
minute.
points of entry, which is what Trump said, okay, you can apply, but you cannot step foot on the soil, right? Okay, until you have your court date.
They're going around the
That was the
1
port.
minute,
executive
Lucas.
order. Hold on.
Lucas.
That was the executive order that kept them from coming in. Biden reversed that. Trump came back his second term and reinstated his his executive order, which is why you're seeing less of them come in now. Because of that. Because a lot of them will come in and say, hey, I'm seeking asylum. They're not. And then they go hide in a sanctuary city somewhere.
So they are
But
going. So what?
hold
So
on, bro.
We
wait.
gotta put
Oh,
a pin in
bro,
it
we
for
got
now.
me
Okay,
and you've been
but
going on
Yeah,
for
because
like
I just wanted to
45 something minutes.
1 minute.
Yeah, it's been like 20 minutes. We got to move on. What's going on?
Right.
So
Go
We
ahead,
ain't set the damn
ZZ, and
recording.
then I'll go. Go ahead, ZZ.
Okay, real quick, because we done already got into it. Egregious. The Shields is coming out quickly today. Apparently, they didn't get their time in yesterday, so they got to come in today and double back. But yeah, the Democrats ain't doing shit for black people. I'm sorry. We can talk about what they're doing for black women. We mentioned some shit about Wi-Fi yesterday for black children. They couldn't mention shit about what they're doing for black men. And again, moreover, the black family, because that's not their goal. Their goal is to separate us. They use that feminism vice to rile up black women and symbolism and oh yeah, our sorority sister, and to put up Kamala and to feed into this narrative that we are getting something beneficial from this party, and we're not, because at the end of the day, if the black family ain't there, ain't no benefit for black people, point blank period. So yeah, the Democrats ain't doing shit for black people. It just is what it is. I'm sorry, neither is the right, but we're not talking about the right, so we can go back and forth about what Trump did and MAGA and blah 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 and the lack thereof, this and that and the other, but again, ain't no Trump supporters over here, so we're not. That's not the game we're playing. So yeah, Democrats ain't doing it for black people. Agree. Go ahead, BDS.
To remind everybody that Afro Elite is in a debate mode today, like he was yesterday. So he may take a little bit more time with certain panelists. Please be patient, and us on the panel, please don't jump in because Afro's going, and I feel like getting screamed at. So I want to say that I want to say this: there is 309 people in the chat, and Afro is only at 43.9K likes. Can we power tap the screen as I set the decorum, please?
right, let's get to Rob. Rob, bro, how you doing? Now, once you get to Rob, I know Rob said he was leaving soon. Okay.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. My bad. Forgot my mic was muted. Yeah, I just jump on real quick. Appreciate you letting me up. I actually didn't even mean to hit the button, but yeah, a lot of these people, in my opinion, are just deflecting with this whole gender divide thing, trying to give black women backhanded compliments, saying that the Democrats are propping them up and all this nonsense. We know that that's a tool that they use to try to keep us divided, because they see that a lot of FBA men and women right now are on code against the Democrats and the Republicans both. So they're trying to use this as a deflection tactic. So I just hope none of our brothers and sisters are falling for this. Shout out to BX, and ZZ and sisters like that. Candy, I see you up here too, that, understand that this is a deflection tactic. I'm not saying that there aren't issues within, our community against men and women, but for the most part, a lot of us are on code when it comes to holding these parties accountable, especially the Democrats. And the reason why we're going in on the Democrats especially is because they owe us more, because we have voted for them way more over the last 60 years than we ever have the Republicans over the last 60 years. And they're the ones keep demanding us to vote for them. You have people like Biden telling us we ain't black if we don't vote for them, and all this kind of nonsense. The Republicans, we know that they have their problems too, but for the most part, they're not the ones out here acting like we owe them something, owe them these free votes. And even Kamala herself recently said that we need to be more transactional, which I actually do agree with. But believe it or not, I actually agree with her on that. We should be more transactional. And shout out to our brother that just pointed her out. I forgot, it was like some book signing or something like that that she was at. Black Alpha told her that, we're coming to get our check in so many words. So she wants us to be transactional. Absolutely, we are. And they are the main ones that should be held accountable. Of course, the Republicans as well. We're not necessarily defending them, but the Democrats, we have been stomping for them for over 60 years. So we have put a lot of voting stake, a lot of our lives on the line for some of us, and different things like this. So yes, we should ask questions like what are Democrats actually doing for black people in today's age? What is that they're doing for the community? Not just black men, not just black children, not just black LGBT, but black people as a whole, foundational black Americans in particular. What are they doing for us? And this mass illegal immigration that's been going on has been a huge problem. And I'm not defending Trump, but at the very least, we have gotten secondhand benefits from them trying to at least deport the illegal immigrants, because a lot of them have been flooded into our communities, like you said, Afro Elite, into Chicago and places like New York and different places like this. So that is at least a secondhand benefit that we have gotten from them. Obviously, we should hold Trump and the Republican administration accountable as well, since they are the ones in office. Absolutely. But the Democrats have been the main ones that have been telling us to keep voting for them, vote blue no matter who.
You went out. I don't know
What
if I got a
happened?
call, but the sound went out for you, Rob. I don't know. This is
Well, we'll
directed.
we'll move on until Rob gets back. I don't know what happened. He's not
Okay.
muted, so we'll move on. We'll get to Candy.
What's up, family? How you doing, Afro?
How you doing,
Hi,
Candy?
Cece. How you doing, Sister
Peace.
BX? Hey, y'all.
Hey, Candy.
Hey, EJ, what's up? Okay, guys, so I just like to state that it's like deja vu all over again. Watching Jasmine Crockett lose, it was like deja vu. We watched Tallarico take the lead and he didn't let it go. He was just owner. I see that happening again. Oh, wait, it did. Al Green. The same thing happened. Let me explain something to you when your girl Kamala lost. What's going to happen is you're going to see that we don't care if there's a black face in a high place if they don't have a black agenda. We are not playing with y'all this time. We are coming to get our check. If there is no tangible, something I can take to the bank, I'm not voting for you. I don't want to hear it. You know what it's like? I feel like a side chick where you with your man all the time, but then here come Valentine's Day and he come over the next day with a dollar store box of chocolates and I love you babies because he needs something today. Every year the Democrats treat me like a side chick. I'm not your side chick, Democrats. I am a constituent and I expect to be respected. If you are not going to do right by me, I'm going to treat you like I would a guy that's playing games. I would dump you, and I have. So when you go looking, going, where is she at? I've been gone. When did you notice? I've been gone. What made you notice I've been left? That's how I feel about the Democrat Party. And when they get to talking about Ketanji Jefferson and all these black faces in high places that don't do nothing for black people, listen, we're going to need you to do more than be a black face in a high place. You're going to have to step up and do something for us and stop playing with us with these immigrants in these positions saying, hey, this is a black person when in fact it's an immigrant, posing as a black person to get our votes. You just saw what they tried to pull in Baltimore. You see what Wes Moore doing on Pettus Bridge. That's a Pettus Bridge. That's another tether. And he walked his butt on there being disrespectful. Then a few days later, you seen the Somalians do it. This man just played again with some fake reparation talk. Guess what? It's not a scholarship for school. It's not money for mortgages to give to some other company and make them rich. No, I want cash money. I want to decide what I want to do with the money. We're not playing. And I want deportations. And when he's talking about there is no law, yes, it is. It's because y'all know a bunch of laws when it comes to our black, but it is 8. Okay, it is 8 USC 1325 and 1326. Illegal entry, re-entry. Holman emphasizes that crossing the border illegally is a crime, referring to these statutes that criminalize unlawful entry and re-entry into the United States and our land.
Alrighty then. Thank you very much for that. Let's get to EJ.
I'm still recovering from my headache from yesterday. It was a lot of biscuit crumb babbling from those characters yesterday. So salute to you. Hopefully you got some rest from the ass whooping you gave that dude yesterday. But what are Democrats actually doing for black people? And the short answer is not a damn thing. And they have shown you that over the past couple of decades, and both parties, when it comes to us as a whole, lineage-wise, hasn't done a damn thing. But when it comes to the Democratic Party, they do anything for immigrants because they are a party of immigrants. You have a couple of, individuals that be doing the Django shuffle over there, but, a lot of them ain't doing nothing for the community. And they got everything down to a T when it comes to these immigrant groups. These illegal aliens coming over here, getting all types of benefits. They getting gift cards. They getting new shoes, getting to stay in 5-star hotels. We have a homeless population throughout the United States of America. You got homeless people in California that can't even get, clean water, let alone food or clothes. But you out here giving illegal aliens from third world countries more benefits, intangibles than you doing for your American people. You giving more benefits to people that's coming from countries that's been swinging sticks at each other for the past 30 plus years. Hell, a lot of these countries on the continent of Africa was named after YT people. So you mean to tell me you can come from a third world country illegally and get all the benefits and tangibles that our people should be getting So if you want to do something, and if you want to show your allegiance to the Democratic Party, I need them to get their head out their ass and actually use their brains to do something like what you did for the Asian community. You gave them a whole anti-hate crime bill. You gave them an anti-Asian hate crime bill when they was allegedly out here getting discriminated by black folks, when a whole lot of YT people was giving them, those situations and those problems. So when it comes to, the Democratic Party being very delusional about illegal immigration and allegedly them securing the border, which they have not never did, because you see the Biden and Harris administration was authorizing a whole floodgate of illegal aliens from all over the world to come over here and to just wreak havoc on our people. So when it comes to that party of losers and immigrants, I don't trust them, let alone want to show my allegiance to those people, because it's been long overdue. These people cannot win anything without the Black American vote, and they know that. That's why they be talking all that BS. So when it comes to the Republican Party, they don't worry about us most of the time. They see these immigrants that has the same. I don't know if anybody's talking or not. Okay, yeah, like I was saying, when it comes to the Republican Party, they don't look at us like that as a large voting bloc. They look at these immigrants that has the same talking points as them as a voting bloc, because they know that some of those people in their communities are going to vote half and half. But when they come to us in our community, they know a large majority is going to vote for that blue, no matter who. So when it comes to these people, they done had every ample opportunity to do right by our people, but they failed miserably. So the moral of the story is, do not trust these people, especially those two tethers on the picture that Afro got on his front, especially Kamala Harris, because he told you she ain't gonna do nothing for Black American people. No, but she can do something for Asians. She Shang Tsung for real. First she want to be black, then she want to be Asian, then she want to go back to her Jamaican roots. So, with that being said, don't drink the Kool-Aid and definitely flush the collard green juice down the toilet. I'll land my plane.
Right. Don't eat them collard greens, y'all. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. Let's get you Beta Genspiration.
Yeah, so
Can you speak up a little bit? Can you speak up a little bit?
you hear me now?
You were a little low. I don't know if you like on Bluetooth or whatever the case may be.
Let me see. Hold on. I'm gonna check.
Okay, we'll circle back to you. Let's get you FBA Soldier. Are you ready?
You hear me now?
You still real low, brother. I can't hear you.
All right, hold on. All right.
We'll circle back
You
to
need to
you.
drop down there and come back up, because your headphones is very
Yeah, I
crunchy,
don't know
sir.
what it is, man. I don't know if you got a Bluetooth phone or something like that. We'll get to FBA Soldier.
What's up, brother Alpha, ZZ, BX, EJ, Candy, and the family? What's going on? Can I be heard?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the first thing I wanted to bring up was, of course, the Democratic Party isn't doing anything for black people, specifically. So I want to
Wow.
go back. So,
EJ,
You
so
we're
back
gonna
up,
have
so
to
they
get
never
you out
reported
of
me.
here
It's cool.
because
I'll be back.
come on, man. Go ahead.
yeah, so the first issue I wanted to bring up is that brother Lucas, brother in the Democratic Party, if this is the best thing, this is the best that you all can do. You already lost already. Yeah, we're not going for the at least we got a little bit of something. We're not going for this baby step politics. You know what I'm saying? When everybody are getting boosted in strides, when it comes to them getting specific tangibles. And we're also not going to fall for your little empty out of context stats. So I started my trucking business in 2023, but I didn't get an SBA loan to start my business. I started my business with my own money. I signed up for the SBA website, but I'm still waiting on an email, a phone call, anything from that website. So when you talk about black business growth, how are they getting these stats? Are they getting these stats based on what businesses got the SBA loans, or of people just starting their business? Because I believe what happened is exactly what Black Alpha said. Like black people
Afro
within the
Elite,
last
not Black
15.
Alpha, brother.
I'm sorry, my bad, my bad. Afro Elite. Um, what he said, I think over the last 15 years, black people have become a lot more business savvy and business minded than we were in the past. And also because the cost of living pretty much tripled since the COVID-19, a lot of black people are starting like side hustles and stuff like that. So how are they counting these stats? Are they just going by who got an LLC? Are they going by who got business loans or SBA loans and stuff like that? So you need to add a little bit more context to these stats. And second of all, I noticed that Brother Lucas was a political expert until you asked him what are the Democrats doing specifically for Black people. Did you notice that when you brought up every other issue, he was an absolute expert on what exactly the Democratic Party did and how it affected everybody. But when you brought it to the specific question of what are they specifically doing for Black people, it was well, I don't know. I'm not a Democrat. I'm just an uninformed guy on TikTok. So brother, we're not falling for it. Third of all, I say this on all the lives that I go to. Any Black person that's that's on these panels, Jeffing for the Democratic Party, it has nothing to do with any pro-blackness, as you just saw. He doesn't care about Black people. You know what I'm saying? So it's only
Hey, bro,
six reasons why.
don't tag my character, bro.
It's okay, okay. It's only
You're going
six
a little bit
reasons
too
why
far now.
Black people. Okay, it's only six reasons why any Black person of today would be so enthusiastic and emotional about the Democratic Party. Number one, they're just paid shills. They're paid influencers by these Democratic influencer organizations like Good Influence. Number two, they're just old and stuck in their Democratic ways. All they know is to vote blue no matter who, and they're just terrified of the Republican Party because they get their news from Roland Martin. Number three, they're a secret immigrant playing like they're a Black person. They're cosplaying on his panels, and they're really an immigrant, or they all have immigrants in their family that they're advocates for, because the Democratic Party unapologetically advocates for immigrants, and they don't care what the Republicans or anybody say. The entire country was telling Joe Biden to close those borders, and he was looking the entire country in that face and saying no. I don't care what you guys have to say or what's unpopular when it comes to illegal immigrants. So they will do the same for Black people. Number four is that they are LGBTQ. Number five is that they are a part of the upper brass of the D9 organization, and they're looking for some kind of political gain or some kind of come up in the media or something. Because when the Democrats are in power, a lot of the bootlegs get a lot of opportunities to bootleg. And number six, they're a Black man hating, divesting feminists, because the Democratic Party supports that. And I'll land there.
All right.
Gotta get in
Hey,
here, man.
FBA soldier. I didn't get to say hi to you when you first started speaking.
I gotta get in here, Mr. Elite.
Yeah, since he mentioned you, I'm gonna let you go.
So yes, when he did ask me about what the Democratic Party didn't do, I do apologize. I'm watching this Real Madrid. They should be winning a lot more than what they are, but I didn't really lock into on that question. When you asked me that, I should have brought up the what was it called? Industrial what's it called? The Industrial Act, or the Industrial Act. Anyways, where it's improvement to bridges, roads. It was signed into office in 2022. That alone, when you look at how it targeted lower income areas, that versus opportunity zones that was signed by Trump in 2018. Opportunity zones led to the fastest rate of gentrification that we've ever seen in our lifetime, I believe. And I'm 30. I'm pretty sure some of y'all are around my age, especially in the state of Texas. Now, when you look at what Biden did with opportunity zones, he passed transparency, because opportunity zones was passed as it was going to be a lot of funding for lower income people in these areas, so they can make improvements to your homes. Well, at the end of the day, what we saw, majority of the funding went to corporations, and they bought houses next to grandma's house, put a mansion next to grandma's house. Now grandma's property taxes are higher. She has to sell to that corporation. Gentrification sped up. Texas is a good example. Now, in the Industrial Act that Biden signed, yes, that money went to corporations, but that money went to adding sidewalks to so people can get to their jobs. So like if you lived in the suburb that was kind of rural and you worked at like a Whataburger down the street, sometimes there's not a sidewalk there. The Industrial Act built sidewalks there. It also improved waste management. It also improved, painting fire hydrants in the neighborhood, painting doors. It just little stuff like that. Transit, just little things like that didn't move grandma out the hood or out of this lower income area, because as we know, we Black people, we don't just reside in these lower income areas. I live in Texas, Dallas would be Pacific. We don't stay in these low income areas. Yes, these people have been moved here into these lower income areas because they're vacant. We're in the nicer areas. We're in the nicer part of Dallas. We're in the nice part of the Dallas Fort Worth metroplex because we're not just the bottom of society. We don't just live in these lower income areas. Like I said, we live in nicer areas, but thanks to the industrial act or whatever, these lower income areas were being improved without having to without speeding up gentrification. And then someone talked about immigration. Now, when it comes to immigration, yes, coming through a port of entry is key. But once they get so far onto American soil, how can you prove that they didn't come into a port of entry unless you saw them or so, right? They do get due processes. Sometimes their due process can be taken away once Congress has been involved, and you tell them the information that you have and why this person doesn't deserve their form of due process. I'm all for that, but let's just do things. Let's just do things the right way, because the way Trump's doing it now, I mean, we're seeing less deportations. We're seeing people get put into these holding cells when they're doing things the right way. Or, I mean, we got more criminals hiding because during like the Biden, Obama, Bill Clinton, all these people, they would go to their court dates and get deported, correctly. But now you got people hunting them. They not finna come outside. They just hiding. But
Oh,
I'll land my
now
plane with
what
that.
is correct?
That was
Stop,
not
stop.
happening. What are you
Right.
doing? Why are you lying like that?
So how many deportations did
No,
Biden have?
they were not going to their court dates. That's why ICE needed to come to the sanctuary cities. That was the whole argument, that they were going to hide, that they come into the states and they would hide in sanctuary cities. And because sanctuary cities do not cooperate with ICE, that ICE isn't able to go in there and grab them and make them come to court. That was the whole argument and reason for him to talk about ICE, is because they were not going to court. That was the whole reason for that.
So why are they not in these sanctuary cities? Why are
They
they
are
not in
in.
these?
Where
They're
are
not,
they? Where are
so
they if they're not in sanctuary cities?
they're just walking around. They're just walking around the city. We're having less
Walking
deportation.
around
Hold
what
on, hold on,
cities?
hold on, hold on. We're having less deportations under Trump now than we did under Biden.
Wait. I gotta stop you. The host asked you where are they walking around at. We need specifics
So they're
because
walking around the Minnesotas. They're walking around the New
sanctuary
Yorks.
city,
If they're in
The
sanctuary
hold
cities,
Democrat
on.
sanctuary
ran,
cities,
But
sanctuary
Democrat
cities.
ran.
they're not up there. They're in the South. They're in the Texas.
Who?
They're in the Louisianas. They're in the Georgias,
Stop,
New
stop,
Mexicos.
stop,
Okay.
stop. You got to stop. Now, I said, where are they? You went to mentioning Minnesota. That's a sanctuary city. You said New York. I'm in New York. It's a sanctuary city that I want to end, right? Then you went to now they're in the South. You should have led with Texas first. Ain't that where you at? So you really can't speak on Minnesota or New York. I'm from New York and I could call a Minnesotian in here right now. They gotta go. They're doing too much. And then they're frauding the place and stuff. Like, are you
Mhm.
finished with your rebuttal? Because there are
Yeah,
other
because
people that
this
we
is
need
gonna
to speak
become
to. Because you're just
a 1v1
moving the
thing, and we're gonna
goalposts every
have to
time you
move
talk.
on
Okay,
because
so
I gotta let other people go ahead and go.
and I'll make it quick.
I'm
I'll
on
make
the
it quick.
time limit.
So yes, I said they're in the New Yorks, they're in the Minnesotas, but they
Mm.
really need to be in the Texases, the New Mexicos, the Arizonas, the Californias, the states that actually border Mexico. They need to be spending their resources in those states and not these
Who?
northern states.
Who should spend the resources there? Because Cali is overburdened with their immigrant population, right? And we
Mhm.
do see what the government is doing to foundational black. Are you foundational black American? Did you give us your ethnic group? You just said you're black, but are you black American?
Yes, I'm Black American.
Okay, thank you. So there are
Lie.
Californians I could call in here. There are Texans I could call in here. They would
Mhm.
disagree with you, sir.
That
Immigrants,
they're
legal and illegal, is a problem for foundational Black Americans in our community. Now, I do admit it would be kind of asinine to think we're going to get everybody out, but I do agree that deportation should be a little swifter. I'm ready to get over this hump. There's no way I should look at Minnesota and hear that my children in Minnesota are being allegedly jumped by Somalian gangs. Like, so they're just doing too much. The immigrants, they have abused the privilege because it ain't their right to be in America. It really ain't their right. They ain't fight for no rights. They
Mhm.
never fought for no rights on this land.
Hmm.
So they're abusing their privilege, and we want Trump to straighten it out. But here's another thing. The ones who are legal here, who were here on TPS and things like that, have him tied up in court. Our politicians aren't paying attention to us because they're too busy crying over the immigrants. Like, I don't even know where this conversation is going no more with you. You responded to FBA Soldier, and now it's time to move on because you keep moving the
Yeah, you did.
goalposts.
He addressed you. You responded to what he had to say. We got people who haven't spoken yet, and we got to be fair to them.
Okay.
All right.
I just asked him one question before we
Hold on.
move
Now
on.
we got to get to the other speakers. So
Not
we
right
got to get
now,
to
FBA Soldier,
we got to
please,
get
because
to
I need a reason.
I think that's
Just wanted to point out that he likes
Chevy.
soccer. That's all.
Chevy.
I
I
do.
think
I
your name
do.
is. Um,
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thank you. Go
okay.
ahead. I'm sorry, Chevy. Go
Oh,
ahead.
you're fine. I am over 18 and I'm Black American. But what I've experienced, I live in Arizona and I was assisting someone. I'm a paralegal and I was assisting someone with asylum. And when I was contacting the detention center, and I went through Arpaio and all of that, so he was like psychotic about getting immigrants out. I don't care either way, but I don't think people understand that this is always going to be an issue because they make like $100 per head per day. So it's not about like Core Civic owns it, like, because I felt uncomfortable because normally when you interact with another professional company, it's easier to deal with, but they don't want you to help them because they want to keep them there. So I don't think this is ever going to be resolved because I think they're making billions off of just keep holding people in those detention centers. It's like a I don't know, I don't want to degrade anybody, but it's pretty terrible there because I drove there and I had a piece of paper that I could give to somebody because he needed help filling it out, and they would not let me give him the piece of paper, and I had to mail it. So this probably, I mean, I just don't want people to continue to argue this point about immigration because they are making billions off of every single person that they detain. So that's all I had to say.
Well, if they self deport, which is what we've been saying from the beginning, if they self deport, they won't have to go through all of that stuff. You know.
That Afro, do you think the fact that the likes of Yvette Clarke and Hakeem Jeffries, all these people, and their representatives are taking Trump administration to court to have them remain here, and the court is actually, hearing cases right now? Can they deport as the court is hearing the cases? Does that have anything to do with she's saying why they're held in the detention
Can
centers
they
for so
deport
long?
as the country's here? I mean, yeah, they can leave voluntarily anytime they want to. The thing
Okay, but
is
I mean,
that
ICE
they're
is getting them
fighting a
out of
lot
here.
of them unless they've been charged with something. Um, they're fighting to stay here. You
Right.
know, so that is that they're fighting. That is the reality. They're fighting to stay here. So that's why a lot of people's hearts just don't go pitter pat for them because I'm all like, I mean, y'all don't have a right to be in another person's country. The same way, because we understand the same way, if we millions of black Americans went to Mexico, there would be not a single one of them fighting for our right to stay there. Not a single one of them, not a single politician, not a single activist, not a single citizen. Nobody would be fighting for our right to stay in anybody else's country illegally. We're the only people who are like, this is injustice. They have family here. No, come on, man. No. If the shoe was on the other foot, we would be getting ran out by the citizens. The government wouldn't even need to be involved. So we already know that. Let's not play that game. Let's get to Be the Ginspiration. Are you ready?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, much better.
So, I think the only thing that the Democrats are really doing, they're doing what I call paternalistic gestures. So they feel like, it's like they feel like they know what's best for us, so they keep like. But the first thing I want to address first though, like I want to address that, like how they keep mocking us. Like they'll put like somebody that's perceived as brown skin in front of us and think that's good enough, and they don't even be black, but they be like, this person's black, and we just keep falling for it because we want to see somebody of color in that seat, which that never really benefited us in the first place. But like I call it paternalistic gestures because it's like what they used to do to us with government cheese. they make it seem like they're doing something good for us, but the whole time they have a different agenda. So they keep pushing certain stuff like that in front of us, and then we keep falling for it. It's like when people bring up the point of but what have the Republicans like did for us and stuff like that. But my whole concept behind that is like, do they even owe us anything? We never gave them our vote in the first place or even expected anything from them. But like the Democrats, they became like so cocky with us. They be like, I don't have to do nothing for them. So I feel like we need to start holding them accountable, like on a business level. Like, yo, if you don't do this for us, there's going to be a consequence for this. Because you got like other groups of people that don't even vote, and they're over here getting laws passed. Like when the Biden administration passed that whole Asian bill, hate bill. I never knew an Asian to get slapped up in my life, but then they're pushing all these bills and people fell for it. It's like we care about every at this point. So it's like that's the only thing I feel like they're pushing is hard paternalistic gestures where they feel like we could tell you what you need, this is what y'all got to get, and etc. And I feel like every time we try to get something pushed for us specifically, they always want to mush us in with like minority groups or they use code words like poverty, they're less fortunate. Nah, bro, I need you to say specifically Black Americans for this because we built the whole foundation of this country, but we always want to put everybody else within our work. That's like you going to your job and then everybody get a cut of your check. Like it doesn't make no sense to me. But that's my whole perspective when it comes to stuff like that. Because there's nothing that I know that the Democrats have done for us specifically other than give us symbolism and give us like false hope. Like they sold us hope. They sold us symbolism. They sold us like these little metrics and stuff like that, but they never did nothing specifically and say, we're gonna do this. Like the most recent thing I heard Kamala Harris said that we need to be more transactional. But what does that mean? Like specifically, like just us demanding it? Are you going to give it to us? Like, what's your plan? What's your policy? Because just a few years ago, she was saying, I'm not doing nothing specifically for y'all. And anything that's going to benefit everybody's going to benefit Black people. I remember that specifically. So that's my whole point.
I mean, come on. What does that mean exactly? What's she talking about then? Okay, that's a pivot from where she stood originally. All right, thank you. Let's get to Omega.
Afro, while Chevy is up here, I saw a comment from her earlier before she joined, right? And she said that there are places that don't have clean water. And I asked her what places. She said Alabama. I asked her for the exact name of the town so I could look it up. But I need to know why did she put that comment in the chat? Like, what was it that we said on this panel that made you say that? And I'm going somewhere with that. You know, that's a talking point, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I want to know
What was
why
that
she
about?
said that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was just responding to him talking about the industrial, like nothing really came of that. So I was just saying like people don't, nothing came of that. So I was just saying like it didn't help anyone. It wasn't something that was like a good point that he made because it didn't help.
The whole industrial thing, that was that was really low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
That really
like
was. That
that's
was
kind of
low
what I was
hanging fruit
saying.
for real.
Sorry.
Yeah.
About the
Okay.
water, I don't get that. Or you could say is that don't make no sense. Why did you specifically bring up our water and where it's not fixed?
I
Like,
was just
does that make
basically
sense?
saying like if the water's not fixed still in other places, why would this industrial or whatever bill be a point that he's making? That's
Okay, but okay, because that's usually a talking point, and I just want to say this:
this
if
is
a
my
Black
first time here, so I
American,
don't
no, it's
know.
okay, it's okay. But I'm talking about just from being in other spaces and having interactions with those with immigrant backgrounds, right? That's a talking point. One moment, I ain't accused you of nothing. I'm giving you why I really want to hone in on this, right? I'm trying to figure out something. So here's the issue for me. When a Black American predominantly city or town doesn't have a resource or the resource isn't adequately working, it's systemic. So when you bring up these issues, I want to know where it is, what town, so that I can look it up and decide how deep this is and what I'm going to do from there. Because we do participate, we create and we participate in calls to action. One thing about foundational Black Americans, we rarely migrate out of our country. And when one part of us is hurting, no matter where in the region, we get on code to help them. So you said our Alabamian family, there's a city or town that doesn't have clean water. Can you please tell me where it is? I do have my computer out. Ma'am?
I'm sorry. I don't know the exact city. It wasn't something that I've researched heavily. I just know that in Alabama I can find the exact cities that don't have water. I just felt like it was a response
Yeah,
to what he was saying.
we get it.
I'm not trying to. I'm my
No,
my.
no. What she's trying to say, she's trying to help. That's what
I
she's trying to
understand.
say.
I understand that. I just
So
didn't
that's
know
why.
that initially, so I didn't go into detail about it. It's just
Okay.
something that I've read. It's not something
Jackson.
that I'm
Somebody said
passionate about.
Jackson,
But
Mississippi.
my grandma, like I don't know if it's because I speak like this, but
Like what?
I'm from Arizona. I mean, I just keep hearing the comments and people thinking that I'm an immigrant, but my
No,
great grandma
just the
wasn't.
comments gonna be what the comments gonna be. Just don't even.
We
I
have a
don't even
strict
be.
vetting code by
But I
check.
will
No,
definitely
but
get you
thank
the
you.
information, ma'am. I don't.
Thank you.
I like that you do that, and I'll definitely get it to you. But I just
Is
didn't.
Casso in here?
I don't
Somebody
know.
said
I want
Casso
to
was in
say
here.
this. Flint, Michigan, their water is fixed. Last I
I'm gonna
checked.
save that spot for
Okay, y'all?
Casso if he's in here. Let's get to
Okay.
Omega.
Thank you, Chevy.
He's out. Somebody said he was okay. Well, he might have popped in and popped out, but okay.
BX, I'm from the United States of Detroit. Flint, water isn't fixed yet.
Is it?
No,
Why
Casso.
not?
that's the
Okay.
Because I
cap.
just saw
Okay.
an article
Come
that
on,
said
man.
it was.
Okay.
Candy.
Uh, Omega, you got it.
To the panel, B1, everybody.
Brother Sloop.
All right, man. Yeah, like the purpose of a government is to distribute and redistribute the wealth of a nation to its citizens. And when you look at that, I guess over our history in America, we did get something tangibly to an extent with slavery being abolished by the Republicans and then civil rights bill being put into action through the Democrats. That's a win on each side, I guess, if you want to count it on that hand. But when you look at what the distribution of the wealth is in today's world, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we are currently fighting for reparations and an anti-black hate crime bill. Neither side is looking to give it to us. That means absolutely nothing to us because we're going to keep pushing. That being said, the Democrats haven't offered you anything but immigrants and basically positioned as a stepping stool, as the brother Foundational likes to say, everybody's doormat. At least the Republicans have, like everybody alluded to, started ending this illegal immigration, which is basically suffocating our cities. So when you look at it that way, you know what I'm saying? Both sides have said no to what we really want, but at least the Republicans have given us some type of consolation. And Democrats, we still waiting. So that's where I'm at, and I land right there.
Well, appreciate that. Now let's get to Moni.
It's Monty, but
Moni. Got you.
it's okay. I was gonna answer the prompt, and honestly, when it comes to the Democratic Party, it's unfortunate because a lot of our people are still under spells. A lot of our people, I don't even think we're always as knowledgeable when it does come to politics. And when it comes to the Democratic Party, you know, they're never for us, but they always want, quote unquote, the vote of us. The sad part about it is a lot of us keep giving them our votes, especially in these blue states that are in the local governments. The taxes are high. A lot of, quote unquote, people's taxes are going to, as we now, a lot of people are realizing, to immigration. But when you actually wonder why is a lot of things going to immigration, You start also noticing that a lot of the people that are infiltrated in the government are immigrants. So it's like, why are you expecting people that are not of you to do things for you? That's another thing. You know, they're looking out for their people. That's why a lot of times that a lot of funding are going to immigrants. I mean, you can go and look. A lot of the Democrats did vote no to basically deport immigrants that were doing welfare fraud. Why would they do that? That's confusing. I would want to basically kick out anybody that was doing welfare fraud, but they voted no. The Democrats did. A lot of times I think it's unfortunate because I don't, even when it comes to political campaigns, you don't really see a lot of them personally saying anything to help us or to give us anything, but it's always a grouping, like, oh, we're gonna do stuff for everybody, but not personally all. But then they start doing stuff personally for other people. So I just don't really get the, I don't know, I don't get it when it comes to our votes always aiming towards the Democratic Party. I think our people is lost a lot of times, and so that's just what it just sums down to. They can't see it. Even if you try to tell them a lot of things, a lot of people tend to get very defensive, so you can't even talk to people or have that conversation a lot of times as well. People making this about a Trump thing when it ain't even Trump on here. And that's the problem too. But this is all media propaganda, media telling people how to think, what to think about. And then these emotions are tied to these thoughts where people not even thinking right. So no, the Democrat Party is not for us. They constantly do damage to us. And people don't even realize the damage that the Democratic Party is doing to us personally, because you're still in that loop, that brainwashed loop of news and media. And that's kind of all I have to say.
I appreciate that. Our sister's over there multitasking right now. Much respect to it. All right. All right. I think the baby agrees. The baby was co-signing. Baby got excited. She was getting up there. The baby was co-signing it. Okay. She was like, yeah, mommy. All right. Let's get to the middle one. I might have to cycle through the panel because there's some people want to come up. So it's not personal if I drop you down or whatever. The middle one, you got it.
All right, first I want to shout out Bryan, Texas. Bryan, Texas native here. So I want to lead with reparations. To me, you know, why it's being denied and why it's being attacked by us. Because with this generation, we're the right generation that's going to basically either dismantle the system from the inside, and reparations would give us the financial, you know, resources to do that, or we have the ability to just disconnect from the system. And the Democratic parties, for so long, they've been like the muzzle on our mouth, so to say. You know, they kind of control our voices. You know, they use our voices, our pain, and our past to gin up all this, you know, heartfelt stuff, which has a dollar amount attached to it. And then they get money from it, they get resources, they get power, and then they divvy it out to everybody else. So it kind of, you know, they use our plight to kind of, you know, generate attention and all that stuff. And then you with the Republican Party, they're just business. They're the business party. You know, the bird, you know, two sides of the bird has two wings or whatever. They're the business. They're the one that push the whole system forward financially. And so with us, we're the right generation that's going to dismantle that. We understand how you know, resources work. We understand how finances work, trust and all that stuff. And we're the right ones that would, you know, dismantle this system. And that was it.
All right, appreciate that, bro. Appreciate you. All right, let's get to Black and Proud. Black and Proud.
Hello, hello. What's going on? Yes, I've been hearing everything. I can ask you guys a question. What have Democrats doing for black people? They have done a lot. What has the Republican Party done for their own people? What have they done for the black people? Because you're sitting here saying the Republicans have done nothing. Of course, they're not going to do nothing. They're never going to do nothing. They don't do nothing for their own party. And the fact that you guys are black saying they never passed nothing, Democrats never passed nothing. Who passed the Emmett Till bill? Who passed the Emmett Till bill? Who signed that into law?
Mm.
Who signed
What
that into law? I would
for
like
the
to know.
audience? Hold on. What is the Emmett Till bill?
No. What's the
Here
Emmett
we
Till
go
bill?
again.
Lashing and what's that called? I can't say the word on here because I don't want your life to get taken down.
Strange
But it's
fruit.
from the
Okay, yeah.
ropes. You know what they do down south back in the
Mm-hmm.
day. Whether you see, yeah. So the ly words. I can't say it.
Mm-hmm.
What else did he pass? They passed a lot of things, legislations for black people, and they have gave money.
Can
Hold
we
on, hold on. I'm
pause?
not
Can we?
done. I'm not done. They
You
have
are
gave.
when I say
Hold
you
on.
are. You are when I say you are. Don't do that now. Come on. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I just
What's
don't.
this?
I'm saying you got to slow down a little bit. I know you got a lot to say, but slow down so I don't miss anything. Okay, so the Emmett Till bill was one. Okay, keep going.
Have passed a lot of legislation. They have gave funding to the black communities. The Democrats gave billions of dollars. Biden actually gave $1 billion to the HBCUs, and Donald Trump, the Republicans, took from the HBCUs this year, and that's actually in his budget cuts. Black business owners, that's in his budget cut. You guys are acting like the Republicans are for you guys. Can you guys name anything, any policy, any Republican policy that will help benefit you guys? Can y'all name any?
When have we
No,
acted
no, no,
like
no,
the
no. Can
Republic?
you name any?
No, don't do
No,
that.
no.
First
The
off,
thing is, you say you guys.
hold on. You a little bit too in your feelings. Let's calm that down.
I feel it because you guys are spreading
No,
nonsense.
no,
Do you
you
go into the
are.
barbershops
You
and talk
are
this shit?
because what you're
Because
doing.
FBA is
Shut
Relax,
up.
man.
FBA means
Shut
Relax.
Foundation
up.
Black
Shut
Africans.
up.
Relax.
That's what it
Shut
Hold
means.
up.
on, man. Time out. I'll let you
Right.
up here and speak, but we're gonna have an adult conversation, man. Okay, you're sitting up this. You're trying to push this straw man argument that we're out here advocating, making it seem like the Republicans are the real good guys. That's not been said by
You just
anybody.
said that. What have they done? What have they done for their
That
own
nobody's
people?
saying the
What have they
Republicans are
done for their
doing
own people?
anything.
Name
The
it. Because you
conversation,
guys are not going to get
now you're
reparations.
What
not
is
gonna
the
overtalk the host, dude.
we have a
I'm gonna let you
decorum
speak, but
on
you're
this
not gonna sit up
panel.
If
here and
I'm smart,
We
I'm not
overtalk
have
the
a
host. Hold on,
decorum on
don't.
this
gay and
panel.
smart and intelligent.
Don't
Okay, all that
I'm gonna
crashing
drop you
out,
for
man.
using that
Calm down,
language.
man. Calm down. You don't. We're gonna
It's the
let you
three branches of
speak.
government.
We're gonna let you speak, but you're not gonna crash out, dude. Nobody else was like that.
Congress. Who's running the Senate? Who's running the
Nobody else
House?
was like that. We're not
White
gonna sit up.
people.
Okay.
White KK.
Oh my God.
Okay. He's trying to crash
You're
the lie.
uneducated. You're an uneducated black man. You are. You're uneducated. And you're spreading
Are you
misinformation.
not a
And
black
you're a
man? Are you
cancer.
not a
You are
black man?
cancer
See,
to
that's
the
the
you are
okay. You know
cancer
what?
to the
Let me
black
not even
communities.
go there.
You're a cancer
Let
to the
me
black
not even
communities. You
go
know you
there.
are.
Let me not even go there. You
Are
wanted
you
to
even
Okay,
okay.
I'm
black,
out for your
Trump?
freedom
Because
right
you're
now.
acting like
I'm
a
just
southern. Are you
because I
black?
don't want TikTok to strike me for saying something I'm not supposed to say. But Lord have mercy, these people.
Can I
Okay,
address that?
I'm an uneducated black man, as if he is not a black man as well. But okay, all right, man.
Can I
Now
address
I
that?
would have let him. I would have let him go, and we would have had a conversation just like we had with Lucas. But he don't want to shut up. He just crashed out, and we don't do that here.
Well, I just want to say one thing, man. I don't
Whoa.
know why bro crashed out like that, but that's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. But man, if I'm being 100, there's more than a two party setup. Okay, like there's more than just Republicans and Democrats. Um, I know people think it's a losing battle to decide that you would go with a different party, but me personally, I'm a part of the Working Families Party. They align a little more with my ideology. Um, I like a little bit of capitalism and a little bit of socialism, to be honest with you. That's just my take on it. You know what I mean? And they kind of align with those views. To run over to the Republican Party because you feel like, oh, well, the Democrats did us wrong. It's not, it's basically, you're going to get the same thing. They two sides of the same coin. The difference between the Democrats and the Republicans is that Democrats will throw rocks and then hide hands. The Republicans will tell you F you to your face. And then you'll just accept it. And that's basically how they run things. Technically, we don't realize that we actually have enough power to, one, create a party and support that and back it as black people if that's what we chose to do. Or because we all know that our vote counts massively when it comes down to picking a president or when it comes to elections, period. The black vote in America, for whatever reason, because of our population, we our votes count. We basically decide who goes in office. Okay, to a degree. But there's other parties to choose from. You can choose a party that aligns with your ideology. A lot of them do line up with the two major parties that everybody goes with, depending on whether or not their candidate actually gets elected to actually debate and be there. But I mean, with just the black community alone, we can pick a party. We can go to it. We can create a party. We can go to it. We can have a party that has all of our ideologies mixed up in one that benefits us, and then stop running red or blue. But that's just my thoughts.
All right.
Can I address that?
Yeah,
I
go
want to
ahead.
make a disclaimer first. I want everybody to know that just because we are criticizing the Democrats does not make us Republicans. I just want to put that out there because a lot of people will see that prompt and then go to, well, what has the Republicans done? Meanwhile, I was looking at Jill Stein, Marianne Williamson, another election. Like, I'm just not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm actually a non-party voter.
Thank you,
That what
BX.
sucks,
Thank you.
you're welcome. What sucks about that, though, I got to tell you, is I got to sit out the primaries. If that could change, I'd be in all my glory, y'all. But I got to wait for y'all to pick the sucky candidates that I got to choose from. But yeah, we're not automatically Republicans just because we criticize the Democrats. I want to put that
Okay.
out there.
Dude, I see what is Chrono. Don't do that. Don't start trolling in the chat room, bro. Don't do that. Cause you was in here when we were dragging Donald Trump and the Republicans. Every time we do that, you be in here, you don't be saying nothing. And then when we say something about the Democrats, let me add this. Anytime we say something about the Democrats, they throw the Republicans there, not because they honestly feel like we support Republicans. All right. They know we don't support Republicans, and it's not that we don't have this energy or this fire for Republicans. That's not it. They just don't like what is being said about Democrats. That is it. That is all. It's not that, oh, well, y'all are biased, and they don't honestly believe we're biased. They don't care if we drag Republicans. They just want us to lay off of Democrats. That is it, and we're not doing that. So all of that, man, y'all don't say that about Republicans. Stop deflecting. Because if we did, if I had a prompt of Biden and Trump saying these are two, they're both evil, they're both the same, and I'm calling them both out, y'all would get mad that I'm talking about Biden. That's what y'all would do. So the issue is that we're talking about Democrats who y'all want to protect. That's the issue.
Though he says the big 1 minute, Judah. He says the biggest Republican shield. He needs to put an at on that because I'm gonna drag him by his esophagus. He's very uneducated. He didn't understand what he was talking about yesterday, right? And so he got walked down, and now he's in his feelings. Couldn't even help Castle in a motherfucking debate. Don't play with me. Go play with your boyfriend and your husband. Don't play with me.
Oh, see, now you got to riled up. See what you did. All right. FBA
Democrat
Judy, you got it.
shit. That's what he is. A zesty one. Go play with your family.
Hey, BX, I'm from the South
Yeah.
Bronx. I feel everything you saying. Hey,
For
look,
real, because I'm being nice. And he was very uneducated on the topics he was trying to talk about yesterday. So I don't even know why he's in here acting like that. But this ain't the day, this ain't the time.
It's not. And here's the thing. Every time he comes up, we are more than fair. We let him come up. We let him say what he got to say. I already know he's going to defend the Democrats, but we still let him come up. We don't cut him off. We let him make his argument. Everything, it's pretty much a respectful disagreement. But the thing is that when you on the panel, everything's all respect. And then when you in the chat room, you talking out the side of your neck. Nah, dude, don't do that. Don't do that because you feel like you got embarrassed yesterday. All right? Because you were wrong. And you feel like you got embarrassed. Now you saying, oh, these are the biggest Republicans. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. FBA Judy, you got it.
hey, I'm 47 years old. I've been voting ever since I was 19. My mother, she had told me how important it was to go down there and vote. But what she taught me was when you go there, you vote Democrat all the way down the back. And I have done that until Obama's second term. And I realized
He's doing nothing for us. Like he does like nothing for us. And I'm not saying, I'm a Republican or I want to go to Republicans. I'm just saying I've been faithful to you. You haven't been faithful to me. And it just sucks because we know the Democrats had done things for the people in the diaspora. When you say he done things for the blacks, they done things for the blacks. They talking about all blacks. We talking about Haitians. We talking about Jamaicans. We talking about Africans. We want something specifically for us, for the trials and tribulations that we've been through. Doesn't make us Republicans because we want something in specific. So y'all gotta stop with these talking points. The HBCUs got funded, black businesses got funded X amount of money. We know that. Okay, that's cool, but everybody benefited off of that. We want something for us for what we've been through. And I'm gonna drop with that.
It's the thing is that we have demands and the demands are not being met, and they keep trying to come up with these substitutes, but y'all did get this. If you go to a restaurant and you say I want steak and potatoes, and they come there with a baked chicken and some broccoli, they'd be like, but you did get baked chicken and broccoli. Okay, but that's not what I asked for. That's not what I ordered. And if I'm upset, y'all gonna be like, man, well, you ain't getting nothing at that other restaurant. I asked for something. I'm paying for that thing. And if you come out with these other things, and y'all don't even give us the whole baked chicken and broccoli, we got to share with the table. We don't even get our own baked chicken and broccoli. We got to sit up there and share with everybody. And when we say, no, we want our own plate, and we want what we said on our plate, that's what it is, because y'all do it with everybody else, so y'all are going to start doing it with us. That's all. Okay? We ain't asking for anything special. We ain't asking for anything that y'all can't do or are not doing for everybody else. Let's continue, though. Let's get to Cloudness, and then we're going to get to Char.
Peace, man. Peace, BX. I heard that dude earlier was talking about what's happening here in Texas. I live in the central Texas area, and the thing about they talking about there's no deportation. The local law enforcement is actually working with the ICE agents. You know what I'm saying? So they've been having checkpoints. So a lot of people ain't seen that, and they doing that out in Florida. They're not doing that in those democratic those sanctuary states. They're not doing none of that. That's why all those uprisings are happening. They doing it on regular down here. But you got game goofy Democrats down here trying to dox these ICE agents, whatever they set up shop in these different hotels. They got game goofy ass dudes going down there doxing these people, man. But Greg Abbott kind of shut that down though. But they're doing that on a regular down here. They a couple of weeks ago they went to a nightclub like at 3:00 in the morning and shut it down. ICE agents ran up in there and deport. It was rounding them up. So I don't know where he's at in Dallas or whatever, but they doing that down here. But you don't hear about it every once in a while. But people are posting that stuff down here. It's happening. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just on the low now. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm for it, man. I see a lot of these dudes in this chat, man, and it's crazy because they come out heavy talking about, oh, the Democrats, man, please, man. The 94 crime bill, we're still feeling the effects of that, dog. A lot of people are still feeling the effects of that. So they can stop with this Democrat nonsense. Under Obama, he was deporting, and all them people that was in cages, that came from the Obama administration, but they highlighted during the Trump administration. That's the trick bag that these people going for, and I don't understand it. They act like they don't understand what they see, and they play it dumb. Listen, Afro, I appreciate you because you got more patience than I do. Because I'm from Brooklyn, and I'm just like BX. I really want to put them in a yoke. All that goofy talking, I'll put you in a yoke, yo. Because I don't really have no time to chat with y'all. I really don't. I get pissed every time I hear the silly stuff. It run me hot when I hear these suckers in the chat talking all that stuff because they're a bunch of keyboard warriors. And if you was really outside, and you really was doing business, you would get yoked with all that gangster talk that y'all talking because you're really not about that life, man. And I'm gonna drop it right there,
It's a thin line.
Yeah. We gotta be careful, but appreciate that.
I feel you.
Because we already had EJ get dropped. We had EJ get dropped, so we don't want to.
Yeah.
We don't want to mess nothing up.
You already
Appreciate
know.
that.
That's what I
Let's
tell
get to
you. Not
Char,
me.
because we're not gonna be on as long as we were yesterday. So I want to make sure we get to everybody. Let's get to Char.
Hello, it's Shar.
Char. Okay, got you.
So what are Democrats actually doing for black people? Right now, they're not doing nothing. And they probably haven't done anything significantly to me, probably in the last maybe 10 years. It's really been going down. Um, but my assumption on this is neither party is for black folks. I've been independent probably since before. I want to say probably when Bush and Gore election came around, I went independent, and I'm going to stay independent. Because I'm with the other guy. Like I'm mixed um with both. Whoever is the best candidate, I don't care what party side they're on. For me, if they're the best candidate, I'm going to vote that way. But what I have to say is I've been listening. Like I'm trying to figure out. Since black people has been here, we have never been considered, period. They told us we was going to get 40 acres and a mule after emancipation. Where's that at? We're not getting it. I feel like I'm to the point where I'm not even worried about the government does or does not for me. And I think when we all as a collective get to the point where we start worrying about what they are and aren't going to do and we just do, I feel like we'll be greater people. We're too worried about them putting, they got this and okay, we're not getting it. And I mean, just to be truthful, we're not. They're not going to do for us. They never have, they never will. And we have to move where we need to move and move there and stop waiting for something, but stop crying about it. I just like this. These lives are just like they're not doing it. So we need to do it. Stop looking for somebody to help rescue us. They're not going to. Harriet Tubman didn't. They're not going to. We're not getting it, and that's how I feel.
So hold
Just
up.
And
So
like
you talking about
there's
reparations?
room for that though. There's room for that. And there's a balance that you have to have when it comes to
I'm not
independency.
disagreeing it. I'm not disagreeing. Yeah, we do need to have a balance, but I'm to the point where people could just keep saying, "Well, this party and that party."
But
Neither party is doing it.
here's the thing. I think that that's been the disposition, unfortunately, of black people for too long, where we have not leveraged our political power because we've just dismissed that by saying, "Well, we'll do it ourselves."
No, I don't think.
You
I
know.
think they did leverage it in the '60s and
Yeah,
the
in the
'70s.
'60s, and since
They did
then,
leverage it,
man,
but we.
hold on, because since then we be all like, well, they both corrupt, and we have
Yes,
not
I'm not
fully.
disagreeing. Well, let me
Okay,
finish
I'm
my
just
statement.
trying to clarify for the audience
Okay,
that
thank you, thank you.
there
I
needs
thank
to
you
be.
for the
I'm not trying to disagree
clarification.
with you because I get where you're coming from.
And
There
so
needs to
my
be a balance of us
right,
moving independently and not relying on the government. But
yes,
however, we do understand that we do pay the government, and the
we
government
do.
it does have a responsibility, and we as
You would
citizens.
think they do. You would
Yeah,
think
but
they
they
do, but
no
they
no
they
they
haven't
do.
been.
They do. They're just not upholding what they're supposed to be doing. And a lot of that is because we've allowed it to happen. The injustice that we've suffered, unfortunately, largely is because we've allowed it to happen. So
Now,
we can't
so
we
I'm
can't
gonna agree.
okay,
I'm
man,
a.
hold on, because I'm saying we can't
I can't even finish
we
my
have to
point.
have this balance of not overlooking their role
We
and
and
dismissing their
I'm not disagreeing
accountability,
with
but
you. That's
also
true.
doing for self. Okay, we got it then. Thank you.
That's true.
All
So
right,
my
thank
other
you.
point, I'm done.
Yep.
Cause
Yeah, we got to move.
you took like 2 or 3 minutes of me trying to
Well,
finish
I
what
am
I
the
was
host.
saying.
I am the host, and
Okay,
I
thank
tried to
you. Have a
clarify
great
what you
day.
tried to say. Thank you. All right.
She referring to reparations?
I don't know or care really at this point.
Can I say something? Black Americans really haven't been stomping the yard as hard, or we're just accepting certain things. The majority, not all, because we do have some in action, right? Because we go like this here, Afro. Well, we're black anyway. Nobody's going to do anything for black. Like, we've accepted that defeatist mindset for a while. And I'm really happy with the Black American Renaissance that we're experiencing. Now we're telling them we understand
First of
how you
all,
can
I didn't
find
say it
money.
was
I'm
a
not talking to
defeatist, but
you, ma'am. I'm
Ma'am,
not
ma'am,
talking to
and see,
you.
this is the thing. Every time somebody's talking, you keep coming off your mic. We let you go ahead and say your whole thing. Now we're responding, and now you're jumping up. Don't do that.
So I'm just saying that now we're telling them we see how you find money for what you care about, right?
Nobody
We
kicked
see
her
how
off. She
you.
left voluntarily, so y'all
Yeah,
know.
no, I didn't drop her. And we also see how they touched our ancestors' Freedmen's Bank, right? So we know that they could do what they want, right? Even if it's not within reason. And so a lot of us are not accepting that. Well, we're all black anyway. Nobody can win if they say they're going to do something for black people. Yeah, we're not accepting that. That's all I wanted to say, Afro. I wanted to be
Yeah,
clear. Yeah.
yeah. And there's a balance of we're not completely reliant on the government. However, culturally, we've never entirely been reliant on the government. And I don't even like the narrative. And I'm not saying she was saying that, but I don't like the narrative of, well, black people need to stop looking for the government for something. Black people have always gotten it out the mud. We've always done that. We've never, and even the black people who've gotten some assistance here or there, they've never been able to completely, totally rely on the government to save them. That's not what we're even advocating for. However, us calling out people who are supposed to be our representatives as citizens, that is how we engage in a political process. We are paying their paychecks. Their paychecks are coming from us. So therefore, they do have a responsibility that they're not fulfilling, that they're not honoring, and they need to be called out for that. So there's a balance. That's all I was trying to say. All right. Let's get to Dad Dude.
Hey, good afternoon. Appreciate you bringing me up. First time on your panel. So before I get going, I would like to ask you a specific question. I've been listening for a little while, and I hear mentions of things for the black community, things like that, but I really haven't heard any specifics as far as maybe what your top 3 priority action items would be. Would you care to kind of lay those out for me?
Yeah. I mean, reparations. I'm sure you agree with that. Anti-black hate crime law. I'm sure you would agree with that as well too. And for another, there's a couple of things that we really need. Those would be the first 2 things, right? I would also say, as far as a third one, I would say reallocation of land. But that could go with reparations. But for the sake of the argument, don't you agree with those things? Don't you think those things are good?
Well, while I may agree or disagree, I don't think they're very feasible, right? I don't.
Well, hold on. Before we get to the feasibility of it, do you agree with it?
I could see where you're coming from the anti-hate crime bill. I was one of the ones that was clamoring for a piece of black legislation, that I'll call it, especially after the anti-Asian hate crime bill, right?
Yeah.
But to zoom out a little bit, I don't specifically really understand why we have these siloed bills, right? I don't understand why we have these siloed, targeted pieces of legislation for that are covering a identifiable characteristic that you didn't pick. It's not even the most interesting thing about you, but yet
Yeah, I know.
we're
Well,
crafting
speaking
this
about you, what part of Europe did your family immigrate from?
Scotland.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Um,
and I don't look for anti-Scottish legislation. I don't look for, because I mean the Scottish have been subjugated from England for many years. But
yeah,
here,
but you're in the States, correct?
I am, yes.
Okay, so we're not in England though. So
No, we're not. We're not. But
okay.
what I'm saying is, when we identify ourselves as a characteristic that none of us picked, that's the most least interesting thing about us.
I would disagree. I think my blackness is a very interesting thing.
See,
about me.
I don't think it's very interesting because
Well, okay. Well, with that, besides what you feel like is interesting or not interesting, as far as the policies are concerned, do you agree or disagree? We kind of beat around the bush on that one. So, do you agree or disagree with the demands? Because you said you don't know what demands we're asking for.
well,
So, I'm asking you,
yeah.
as someone who comes from persecution, your Scottish family comes from persecution. You should understand and feel the drive of justice and be in support of foundational Black Americans, right?
Well, since you invoked my lineage,
Mm-hmm.
my lineage fled the land that they were persecuted from to find a new start in a new land. So I really can't relate to the position that you've taken based on what I know of my lineage, right? But what I will say is this, and this is what I came up to say. I believe, and it is my assertion, that the America First movement, the movement that focuses on the American citizenry as it stands today, and the FBA movement have so much in common. And until we can zoom out and start to identify those things about how our politicians have looked outward instead of inward populace, I think we're going to keep repeating this same cycle. I would encourage my friends on the other side of the aisle to think about what is most important right now. Is it me, or is it us? And that's where I'm focused on doing.
Well, the thing is that you're talking about America first. I feel like it's so interesting. You're a European immigrant. Your family comes from Europe. You know, my family built America. So if anything, we should be prioritized. The harm that has come to us has benefited you all. You all were able to come and reap the benefits off of other people's labor. So for you to come here and talk about let's all be America first and let's all come together, but not advocating for the justice and repayment to the people who are harmed and the people whose harm you reap the benefits from is very hypocritical, don't you think?
Well,
I
what
think
I
that
do,
was that lack of justice and morality is what caused your people to flee Scotland. I feel.
well, you're right, that is. And so
Don't you think you should be better than that?
what I think is that to extrapolate the injustice that was done
Mm-hmm.
200 years ago, even further back, that was started further back than that, to today, and try to right size that injustice today, it's a bridge too far. And I'm operating in realism. What can actually be done?
Oh, reparations can actually be done because they're giving Native American tribes reparations. That can actually be done. So it can be actually be done. Now, here's the thing. What you're trying to do is because I feel like, sir, and I don't want to make any assumptions, but I feel like you disagree and you're trying to cover your disagreement with it's not logical or feasible. Whether it's logical or feasible is another argument. My argument is it morally correct? Is it reasonable? Is it correct or incorrect to demand reparations? Should we or should we not be doing it? Does America owe foundational Black Americans reparations?
To be fair, I'm not sure that I get to weigh in on whether that's morally just or not. I nor you lived during that time. And to judge past history with modern day morality, to judge past history with...
Hold on, y'all see this? Yo, go ahead.
Here's the deal.
Okay.
Afro elite. Let's say the city you live in builds a statue of you today. And 100 years from now, 200 years from now, you have a group of people coming along that say, that man ate meat. Can you believe the barbarian Afro elite is? He ate meat every single day. Let's tear down that statue. How do you judge history by modern day morality? That is the question that you must overcome here. That's the question that I am not qualified to answer.
So the thing is that what I'm getting from I'm glad you made that point. So is slavery a debatable thing on whether it was wrong morally or not?
Sure.
Was the transatlantic slave trade, is that like a debatable subject on whether that was wrong or not?
Sure.
It was wrong, or it was wrong, right?
Yeah.
And people were harmed by it, correct?
Correct.
So there needs to be some form of justice done, correct?
Do you feel like the time that we live in today, let's call it statute of
You
limitations. I
see,
don't
he
know
said,
what you
yeah,
want to call it.
sure, correct.
No
And then
statute
I
of
said, do you feel
limitations
like it
doesn't
needs to be
underlie
justice
it.
done? Well, hold on. Technically, the time we're living in today, I just don't feel like, okay.
Do you feel like justice has not been done in some capacity,
No, no, and I
and
absolutely
hold on,
not at all. Not
and
at all. Not 1%. Nope.
or attempts have been made to right that
Mm-mm.
wrong?
No, none that they've been made good on. None. Mm-mm.
How do you classify the Great Society and the trillions that have been invested in these communities? Is that just
Can I ask you a question?
is that just
Do
a
you
Hold
share
on.
footnote?
that feeling?
How do I
It,
what? How do I what?
how do you classify? Because I asked you, I said, do you feel like justice has been attempted and or been made for those injustices? And then I said, how do you and you said no. And so how do you classify the Great Society and the trillions of dollars that have been invested in these communities? Is that not an attempt? Was that just a
No,
footnote in history?
there's not an attempt unless the attempt is lineage based. Unless the attempt goes to the people who were directly harmed, the descendants of the people who built the country. If it goes to anybody else, it's not an honest attempt.
And
Okay,
how do you choose
because
to validate that?
how do I choose? The same way America has always done it. When they gave reparations to the Japanese Americans, they didn't give reparations to all Asian people because the harm was done to those specific Japanese Americans and they were specifically compensated for that. So that's how.
Okay,
It's the same standard America has always used.
understood.
Do
Now,
you
Understood.
share the
now,
same
before we
sentiments
move on,
for?
I want everybody
Go
to
ahead.
understand. Before we move on, this is what happens when. Now, I'm sure you feel like we should just be racially blind, correct? Like we should just live like without race, because you said it's the least interesting thing about us, right? Oh, he's. It seems like he's gone. We're not gonna have him hog up the spot. Okay.
Does he share the same sentiment for the small hats or any of the other groups that have been paid reparations? Why is it when it's time to pay us, do we always get all this back talk? Like everyone else was paid, no one said anything. Native Americans are still being compensated. They're always increasing it by the day. Why do they always have this only for us? Their argument is disingenuous.
I want us to and make a great point, Candy. I want us to understand anytime they come up here and be all like, I just think we should all be America first, man. I just think that we should, I don't see color. I don't even think I'm white like that for real. When they come up here and they do that, I want you to understand when you ask them about reparations, they're always going to sit up there. That's where they draw the line. Okay. Then I asked him about slavery. It's very interesting that he brought that up. He's all like, well, how do you judge what was wrong back then to the standards of today? So I'm like, okay, so was slavery not wrong back then? And he didn't want to say that. But the thing is that anytime they argue against reparations, it's because they don't see slavery as this sin. They don't. They don't see slavery as something morally reprehensible. They don't see slavery as something wrong at all. So therefore, they don't see the need to repay something. He's not even from here. He's an immigrant. But yet he wants us to be America first. You're barely an American. You just got here. We've built this place. If anything, we should be prioritized more than him because he thinks that he's Caucasian makes him just as much embedded in this country as everybody else. All of that, I want us not to be confused by that. We just got to work together and put America first because America first don't mean black people. I'm letting y'all know that right now. It don't. The
So
second you
Afro,
ask about the morality of slavery, it becomes foggy. When you ask if slavery was immoral, it becomes a, well, I mean, maybe if you look at it, maybe not. It becomes that.
mute DJ. Afro, did you see the interaction that I had on another panel with the Sicilian? I sent it to you. You don't be watching the videos,
No,
right?
yeah,
So
I think you did a good job.
Thank you. So I wanted to tell the Scottish man there that this conversation, this portion of the conversation with him is just a courtesy conversation. He really doesn't have a say in what we
No.
demand from our government
Hmm.
or how it would be paid out. And the same thing I told the Sicilian. Everything they use from the doorknob, the traffic light, and if they eat ranch dressing is off of the backs of my ancestors. We did that. They did that, and we are our ancestors. But here's the thing: I have a question for you, Afro? In the
Mhm.
matter of white tea people feeling like they should have some input on us, our community, and our reparations, would you say that it should only be with the early settlers' descendants, like the antebellums? At the end of the day, those who would they try to tell them they foundational, but I don't call them that. They still
What they
immigrants
call
in
what
the.
the heritage Americans or something like that.
I don't even know if we could say that because wasn't Vivek saying he was heritage American or something else? I'm
Yeah,
talking
they
about
all
like the
no.
Mayflower descendants, the
Yeah,
antebellums, those the people that got the wills with some of our ancestors' names. I'm talking about them folks. Because
you're arguing if they should be able to weigh in on the community. What are you arguing?
if they should be the ones, if we had to have a roundtable about reparations with some of the white tea folks, would you say that they're the only ones that should be at the table with us? Because they can't be deported, but the Scottish man here who was up here can.
Personally, no. I wouldn't even give them
Okay,
that.
okay.
I don't think that any non outside of the lineage should be able to weigh in on it. Now, if we're trying to like make arrangements for it and for where the money is going to come and resources and things like that, then I guess we would have to eventually sit at the table with somebody. But those are not just going to be what they call heritage Americans. Those will be
Right.
actual politicians and businessmen and things of the sort, right?
Right, but we don't want the immigrant politicians at the table with us. When I'm, because you know what I honestly believe. Once we get through these immigration things, there that the natives and somebody may not want to hear that the early settlers, descendants, and Black Americans really do need to come to the table. We're gonna be here, and they're really racist, right? But they have to understand there are lines. We have to set cultural boundaries with these people. So I just was asking. You know, I could be wrong, but I always ask y'all when I'm
Okay.
unsure of anything. So that has been my mindset for a while, but it's always the immigrants that feel they got a need to say what they're going to do and not going to do, and they really don't have a leg in that battle. They could go home.
Hmm. But we're gonna continue with the conversation. We're gonna continue with the conversation, right? Let's get you Chrono. You've been waiting patiently.
It was good. I've been summoned from the comments, so I wanted to come back up here today to do some more straightening. I heard that some
Oh,
people
is that
embarrassed
what
me
you want to do?
yesterday, so I don't know
Screaming,
if
screaming.
I don't know if the clarifications were made clearly, but I can go ahead and re-educate you guys once again about the topic that I straightened up yesterday.
No, no,
So
no.
you
So
Let's not
can
do that. Let's not
clarify
do. No, no, no,
your
no, no.
comment
Let's address what
about a
you said in the
Republican shield.
comments, because
Right.
that's why you were
give me
That
one.
called up.
comment.
You were
Because
called up because of
totally
what you said in the comments.
Okay,
right.
so
Not
whose
from
feelings did I
yesterday,
hurt
but I want to
first?
tell you,
Let's start with whose
hold
feelings did I
on.
hurt first.
Because for every statement and every comment is a reaction, right? I was actually up here. I always have my computer
You're
open
very
for when,
reactionary.
and you're very sassy and sassy, sir. Okay? And don't be it today, because you can actually have this conversation with me when you're in the chat and I'm talking.
Love it.
Stay on your mute. So here's the issue for me. I was actually back here, right, in a good mood, looking up the places of historically Black cities or towns that have water problems, sir. And then I'm scrolling, and I always knew you were in the chat. I had nothing to say to you, nothing good, nothing bad. You brought this reaction on. I can be reactionary, right? Because you're too sassy. And you always are freaking out of turn. I was back here minding my Black American business, and then I started commenting to somebody, and I'm a whole non-party, and you are assuming I'm a Republican just because of you lead with your orientation. I'ma just say it, and you need a Democrat in office, sir. I don't. So let me tell you one other thing. Don't say anything that can be misconstrued as talking to me. You're not in my weight class, period. And then you won't get the reaction that you're getting now. Are we clear? Because I don't really like you no way. I was just showing you respect because you're melanated. But I don't have to if you're going to come for me and I ain't send for you. Because I ain't sent for you today. Period. Now do with that what you will. But stop being zesty when I'm in the room.
May I speak now, please?
Say what you gotta say.
Thank you. So BX, to respond to you first, I would love to answer the prompt, and I would love to go over how I completely embarrassed your panelists yesterday with the misinformation that they provided. But let me address you first, BX. You have talked about my sexual orientation. You called me a Democratic shield. You don't know who I voted for or who I lay with. So maybe you should practice what you preach first.
I will
Um,
never practice what I preach when you're still being zesty. You're zesty.
Okay. Well, before we get
You came
derailed,
for me and you
my turn,
can't
please.
handle it. You're
because we don't
zesty.
want to get
And I
shut
know you're
down.
uneducated.
We
I
don't
know
want to get
that much.
shut down.
I'm
So
not going to report anything.
listen, you were listening, Chrono. You were listening. You were here yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Um, I don't think you got the best of anybody, and and it's on YouTube. I don't know how you feel like you got the best of anybody, but in your perspective, I think you
Well,
think
that's
you did. But
expected.
okay, fine. Regardless of that, you've been here multiple times, and you've given your talking points where you've backed up Democrats and you've defended Democrats. You know for a fact that me and nobody else on here, this is not a pro-Trump panel. You know that. You've been here in rooms when we've talked about Donald Trump, okay? And you ain't have nothing to say, okay? You wasn't calling us shields. You wasn't saying we are incorrect. We're uneducated. You wasn't saying none of that. And you were in the room when we were talking about Donald Trump, all right? So now we're talking about Democrats, the party you want to defend, because it's not like you feel like there's this imbalance. You just want to defend Democrats. Now you're saying, oh, I saw that comment that you made where you refer to, because I think BX said, oh, we're not, because you said it right after she said, we're not Democrat or Republican. And then you said this coming from the biggest Republican shield. That's what you said in the chat
I
room.
did.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
did.
when she addressed you and called you out for you to come up here. All right.
Correct.
When you know for a fact we're not Republican shields, but that's a buzzword and a talking point that y'all have to use to defend Democrats.
Well, I'm
So I
here
want
now.
to
Can I
make this
speak?
clear
I'm here
before you
now.
go. Before you go, I never came for his orientation until he said that. Before today, have I ever called you zesty or sassy? No.
Yes, you have, ma'am.
No, I
I don't think
have
you
not. Why
remember.
would you lie like that,
I don't
sir?
think you remember. I really don't care though, BX. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. May I
You know
speak?
what? It don't matter to me either, because you got to take it up the ass, not me. I ain't gonna be the one crying.
Okay. Well,
All right. All right. All right. We
all
gonna
right.
be a little bit more civil with the language.
Yeah, it would be nice. She's older than
All right.
me.
All right.
May I speak now?
I don't even know if you're of the lineage. I owe you nothing. Just like you owed me nothing when you were
Okay. You know
disrespectful
what?
in the
Let's just
comment
move
section.
because this is gonna get the stuff shut down, y'all. Come on.
Okay, I'll be quiet. Just be quiet, sassy. Stop coming for people. You can't handle the smoke. Period.
Afro, may I respond now, please?
You get your last say in, and we're gonna move on because we
I can't
do gotta
respond to the
wrap this
prompt or
up
anything.
eventually anyway.
Okay. Well, I'm not I'm gonna speak in generals, right? So if I'm never advocated for Democrats. I've advocated for progressives. I've advocated for progressive ideas and progressive laws, progressive legislation. So when I advocate for progressive ideas and legislation and someone calls me a Democratic shield because of that, it is my freedom to believe that you are a Republican. The same way someone can assume that I take it up the ass, which I don't, I have the same free will to assume you are a Republican. Okay? So we don't want to assume things about people. How about we put our big adult pants on and practice what we preach first? Now
Okay,
I'll
well,
be more than happy to answer. Can I please
I'm gonna
respond to
let you go
the
ahead. I'm gonna let you
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. And just to clarify, for clarification, because I think I don't know what's on YouTube. I'm glad you have a YouTube channel. I hope it does well. But yesterday when I came up here, I did refer to the housing amendment, and someone had stated we were talking about the generations and having to be of this generation. And he said he spoke to his lawyer. I'm not sure if your mutual was confused or just lying, because first of all, Kamala Harris lost the 2024 election. Her policy was never implemented into law. Lawyers do not study or try things that are not part of the legal system. So there's no Kamala Harris policy to even be tried by a lawyer because she lost the election. And all I did was clarify yesterday was that the $25,000 down payment that she was offering was a part of her policies that only apply to people who had already previously qualified for the FHA and HUD housing qualifications, which with that housing qualification, they say if you don't own a home within the first 3 years, you qualify to own a home. That is part of a HUD and the FHA laws. All Kamala Harris's policies say, well, if you qualify for HUD and the FHA qualifications, I'm going to give you $25,000 on your home. Secondly, I rebutted Simon yesterday, and I denounced his lies that he was saying when he said the Democratic Party enslaved us. And I made it very clear that it's very important for us to watch the language that we're using. Conservatives started slavery. Jim Crow was a conservative. The Civil Rights Movement was a progressive movement. The names of the parties have not changed. The ideology has. There's a reason that the party of today is calling itself the Conservative Party, because conservatism means to uphold the hierarchy. And at a time when we were enslaved, we were not the hierarchy. So that's the clarification I brought yesterday. So I don't know who embarrassed me, but I would love to find out. But just to answer the prompt, as far as what are Democrats doing for people, I can speak for my state right now in North Carolina, where I live at. I know y'all be having, well, anyway, where I live at in North Carolina, the Democrats here are expanding Medicaid. They're expanding affordable housing. They have lowered the medical debt here off of our taxes here in the state of North Carolina. We have more financial stability here because of our Democratic leadership. In states like Evanston, Illinois, Democrats have pushed for reparations, which Black Americans who are face historical racism in that state have received reparations, $25,000 per household. Also, the people who qualify for reparations in Evanston, Illinois, are people who were arrested for smoky charges and were charged extended sentences wrongfully. They have also received $25,000 paychecks. In New York City, I understand that you guys have a immigration problem there and things like that, but they are working to lower the cost of housing and make things more affordable. And I can name the Democratic leaders that are spearheading. Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time. Name them, sir. Name them. I'm in New York. Name them. That's all I said.
Name who? The Democratic leaders in New York City?
Who's trying to drop the housing price?
Well, you have Mom Donnie, who you guys, I can't say the H word, who you severely dislike, who is trying to lower housing costs and make things more affordable. You have Kathy Hochul in New York City, which I don't like to advocate for Democrats, but I mean, if you want me to name them, you have Charles Schumer, Letitia James, Brad Quinn.
Stop right there. So people are actually protesting man dummy out in Queens because he raised property taxes or some mess, right? Hochul, Miss Congestive Pricing herself, please, we're trying to get her out of office, right? Who else you said after that? Oh, Letitia James, Miss, let me get a HATE tip line for the Asians? You think she gonna do something for Black Americans that will benefit Black Americans? She's of Jamaican descent, sir. She ain't for Black Americans. She's for the immigrants, right?
Well,
so here's the problem when you just read something. You're really not affected by it. So whenever I'm out of my weight class and it's about Chicago, I ask Afro. I ask Gone World. When it's New Orleans, I ask New Orleanians. Like, you really got to talk to the people and not just read stuff, sir. Because trust me, we are paying. If you live in the studio, you're liable to pay about $2,800. Okay, and property taxes are not going down either. It's rent. He just cut and decided he wasn't going to expand the housing voucher, right? So, and he just decided that he's going to give even the illegal immigrants a chance at daycare, right? So I think that you really need to mind your business sometimes, or talk to the people more, and not just assume because you read something and because they said it, that it's factual. We're hurting in New York, and he ain't helping.
Well, BX, I would love to have a conversation with you. So maybe if you didn't assume things about me, we could have that conversation. But I ended my statements yesterday by saying that I don't think anybody on the panel was complaining about progressive ideas, which have always helped our community as Black people in the United States. What we are complaining about is the fact that these progressive ideas and agendas are now being infiltrated by other groups of people, and we are not receiving the full benefit that our ancestors received after 1964. And so we have to find ways to realign progressive ideas so they're filtered through Black communities that are disenfranchised and lower incomed first. That is the idea. So I
Well,
disagree with
the
abandoning.
biggest,
Go ahead.
but the
I can
biggest
only speak for
issue,
30 seconds. Yep,
the
go ahead.
the biggest issue is that we have a specific list of demands. We have a specific list of things that we're saying needs to be done for the community, and they're not sitting at the table and honoring those things. When we talked about Biden, now you say you're not a Democrat, you're more of a progressive, and okay, fine. But the thing is, every time we talk about Democrats, you're in their defense. You're in their corner trying to defend them. Because when we talk about Biden, how Ice Cube tried to have a conversation with Biden with the contract of Black America, and Biden shooed him away and never sat with him, never met with him. And as a matter of fact, he actually did meet with Trump. Now, regardless of how that turned out, he actually did have a conversation with Donald Trump after trying to go to Biden and was dismissed. And there was people who were upset that he even agreed to having a conversation with Donald Trump. This is the problem that we're having. Okay, we're having a specific list of demands, and the Democrats are saying, no, you're going to get whatever I give you, and you're going to like that. And this is what we're saying. No, we have a list of demands like every other community, and you have to agree to these. You have to promise these before you get our vote. Otherwise, I'm not accepting anything else. I don't know if you were here when I used the whole steak and potatoes versus chicken and broccoli analogy. Y'all giving us chicken and broccoli when we ordered steak and potatoes, and then y'all saying, well, I mean, we did get chicken and broccoli. No. And I like chicken and broccoli. I really do. But the thing is that if I'm in the mood for steak and potatoes, that's what I want to eat. You're not going to
Okay.
give me chicken and broccoli and say, well, you did get something. No, we're asking for specific things, and they're straight up saying no. And they're just giving stuff out to everybody, and we can benefit in some way. So this is our issue.
Okay, so can I respond?
I'm gonna
So
let you
just
get like 30 seconds, then
I
we got to
know.
move on because we got to wrap it up.
Okay. So what I will say is that you're correct. I think that where the issue is getting lost at is that a lot of these issues y'all are talking about are local issues that you're having in your state municipalities. Chicago, you guys have been flooded with immigrants sent up there by Republicans, but nonetheless have been flooded with immigrants and resources have been redirected to take care of that crisis. In New York, you guys have a major immigrant problem. I live in North Carolina. The Democrats here are giving us more here than our Republican senators and congressmen here in our state. And in states like Evanston, Illinois, that I mentioned, they just received reparations from their Democratic leadership. So what you're saying is true. I think when you guys paint it with such a broad brush that we are all being abandoned by progressive leadership everywhere that we are is just emphatically not true. And so I think that the issues that you guys complain about a lot of times, you make it seem very national and it's more local. I do think there's a national issue of reparations. If you look at my page, I have a reparations petition. Nobody looks at that. And I have the United States Senators, Congress, everybody listed on that I want to get at least 1,000 signatures so I can drive to DC myself and advocate for that. So I
Okay, can you
understand
stop there
reparations.
for a minute? Did you see the
No,
elder
no,
Come
of
on, we
BX.
got to
North
wrap it up.
Carolina?
We can't
All
be here
right.
too long.
He didn't see the North Carolinian elder out there talking about the immigrants had to interrupt the immigrant press release. Like you are out of touch, and that's why nobody is reading that petition you have. Who do you sit with that advocates for reparation? Who do you get guidance from besides your thoughts?
Who do you get guidance from beside Gronk?
Okay. You know what? Thank you.
Right, right.
Thank you guys. Let's get to Lisa. Lisa, are you with us?
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been just sitting listening, and I was listening to the guy, and sometimes, and I tell this to the younger people. Okay, yeah, I'm 62. I'm from Houston, Texas. Okay, I was born in 63. And when we were coming up, we sit and we listen to our elders, even though we may not have always did what they told us to do or how we should do anything. We still listen and we took some of it in and we did some of it. You see what I'm saying? Because they say a wise man will change, a fool never will. So a lot of things that I listened to from my elders, it kept me out of a lot of BS. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of these younger ones, they feel like they're so educated, so they have so much book sense that they can't listen to the elder. Yeah, I may not have as much education as you have, but I sometimes common sense beat book sense. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So and the guy that just got off, and he was saying he out like you were saying, he's always throwing the Republicans. Yeah, I'm in Texas. Yeah, Greg Abbott, he did ship him up there to Chicago. I hate to say it, but the reason he did is because we are not a sanctuary state. There's no place in Texas that's sanctuary. So he let him know that no, you're not. We're not finna get flooded out
Court
with
them.
all
Don't
these
send them to
immigrants.
Chicago.
Hold
With
on.
all these
Stop. Let
immigrants.
her
I
go.
do know he shipped them to Chicago because the mayor of Chicago was on there crying about trying to come up with some laws to keep him from shipping them there. I'm in Texas. I know what was going on. So Texas is not, there's no sanctuary here in Texas. So that's why that was happening since you said it was a Republican. Yes, it was. It was Greg Abbott, for one, I know.
All right.
So
I
just
appreciate
because
it.
just because a lot of these Democrat cities and stuff want to be flooded out, and they spending all the money on them, and then like in Chicago, I've been following that. The black folks now they're trying to get taxed out and everything else because he didn't spend all the money on the illegals. Well, I'm happy that my governor said no, that was not going to work in Texas, and we just had an election where we had to vote on this Sharia law mess, and we voted against it. So no, we're not finna have all that till Democrats want to be soft. No. Because in the long run, who is everything usually hurts is the black man. See, I have a black son. I have one. But I want my child to be able to make it just like everybody else, male or female. So no, I'm looking at everything. I'm 62 and I'm looking at everything. Yes, a lot of older black people, whose eyes are still closed, but I'm not one of them. And I want mine to have just as much as chance as the rest of them. And I don't want you can come to me and tell me about the Democrats this and the Democrats that. Okay, well, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to look at all what happened in the past. Like with Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee, who I never did really care for her because I always peeped her. Then I found out later on that was the reason why she was cutting so hard for all these illegals because she was Jamaican. So, yeah. Sometimes being a young person, it's time for you. A lot of times it's good for you to sit down, like the old folks say, sit down, keep your ears open and your mouth shut. You'll learn more. I'm done.
I was just telling the older guy yesterday he needed to learn from us.
All right.
We can learn from each other.
Yeah, we can all everybody can learn. Nobody knows everything. Um let's we gotta wrap it up. So we're gonna get to Ken. How do you pronounce your name?
Get out of the way.
Okay, Ken out of the way. And then after that we're gonna get you B Sync Coco.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? What's up, Afro Elite ZZBXO panel? I appreciate what you do. It's my first time on here. I'm a Black American, Indigenous American on both sides of my family. My family's from Georgia, Virginia, and South Carolina. What are Democrats actually doing for Black people? So I came up here on the tail end of the Scottish guy talking. So what I'm about to say isn't pertaining to anyone on the panel, but Democrats aren't doing anything for Black Americans. And oftentimes we pivot to Republicans. If Black Americans vote mass, then it's the Democratic Party obligation to champion Black Americans. It's their burden. So we don't always have to pivot to Republicans. Obama gave the small hats some form of reparations October 1st, 2015, and their atrocities didn't even happen here.
So there are many different groups of people that get reparations, including the natives today, and that's by lineage. And the Scottish guy was talking about statute of limitations, and that's what it is oftentimes with immigrants who flee their land, including YT people and the melanated immigrants around the world, that they don't honor their ancestors the same way we honor our ancestors, meaning a component of honoring your ancestors is picking up the fight in their land. So when we're talking about that we have a birthright in the United States of America, they can't understand that because they fled their land. They don't understand what fighting and honoring their ancestors is. My fifth great grandfather is Nat Turner. If y'all don't know, y'all could go see
Oh
my
wow.
kin post and you could see my family, my kinship test, and I'm going to be doing more content with my Nat Turner family soon. But oftentimes they like to come over here and undermine us by saying we're the same. As long as they keep saying we're the same and they have entitlement to things we have entitlement to, they're going to stop us for getting what we want. And the guy brought up talking something about policies. And so, for instance, if we're talking about Black Americans historically in the United States of America, we had issues concerning our education. Historically told, we couldn't read or write, right? So people that come here, we should have first dibs. We should have our student loan swipe. We should have free schooling. These are policies that is lineage based, right? I remember when I was in university, from New Jersey, and there were a lot of illegal immigrants sitting next to me, DACA students, and I couldn't get access to a lot of policies and programs that they had. And I'm like, hey, I built this country. My family built this country. They didn't care anything about that. Also, I wanted to touch on there are many, and well, y'all can look this up. I don't have it in front of me, but there are individual Black American families that sued for reparation, some sort of reparations, and they won because they had a specific fight saying we were here in this location, the slave master did this, and this is what we're owed. So when we're talking about reparations on a big scale, I think a lot of it is about the language. That's how they keep that's why they're able to cosplay and leech, all the immigrants, the melanated immigrants from the Caribbean, from Africa, is because they keep playing with this African descent thing and who was enslaved. And I think that's the main issue is language. I wanted to say when we're talking about Black Americans, when we're talking about Jim Crow, mass incarceration, war on smugs, the crack epidemic, redlining, loan discrimination, destroying our towns, our banks, our businesses, right? It's not so easy to rebuild. We know how hard it is to build something. So if they destroy everything you have and then they don't want to give you loans, they have loan discrimination, then the immigrants could come here and get loans and say they came over here with nothing, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. This is why they can't understand us, because they think they have the same entitlement and birthright in this land. That's all I want to say. I land my plane. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Nottaway.
All right. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. There's a lot of people in the chat room. We're just gonna have to be on it because gotta go. Gotta go. We
May I
couldn't
say
be on
something
as
before
long
we
as we
go?
were yesterday, so. But this was cool. This was cool. It didn't get as intense as yesterday's did, but it was cool. It was cool. You know.
May I say something before I go?
All right,
Please.
go ahead. No, all right.
Thank you. I just want to say to everybody in the chat, don't take anything at face value. Not from me, not from anyone on this panel. Go read the policies yourself. Look at what's actually being done at a local level and state level. Be aware of how your senators and your congressmen are involved in policy making in your local municipals, and understand who's pushing what, right? As Black Americans, we owe it to ourselves to move with information, not just opinions. So I just advocate for everybody to stay informed. But Afro, I always appreciate you bringing me up. You try to keep it as peaceful and as classy as possible. And I'll be back again, man, to be opposition because I love to do it. But
All
have a
right,
good
man.
one.
We love the debate. All right, much
Yeah,
respect.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, yep. You see, none of this stuff is personal. Sometimes it gets heated, but we not personal. We don't get personal here. Sometimes, but not most of the time.
Honestly, I don't see him on other platforms besides this one and Leo's, right? I don't see him in too many rooms that I'm in. Yeah.
Yep. Zizi, you with us?
I think she went to
You might
sleep.
be doing something. All right, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all go to For the Culture because we got the playback, which is going. This it's on fire right now from yesterday. Yesterday we was intense. Okay, today we had some back and forth, but we was getting it yesterday. So that's premiering right now. Go to the playback on For the Culture on YouTube. All right, and to everybody listening from YouTube, thank you guys very much. Shout out to every single last one of y'all. Please make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe button. Thank you very much. I guess BX, if you why is there a is somebody on not on mute? Why is there a oh Lisa, yeah.
Lisa's not on mute.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
As I'm giving the final submission, if you in the chat, come on, family, y'all can tap Afro up to 200K, and there's 409 people in the chat. So at the end of the day, it's no hard feelings. But when I'm nice and calm, like, why would y'all poke the bear? Hint, hint. Like, don't poke the bear, because I literally was back here researching everybody's city and towns that may need help or assistance or calling attention to their water. If they have a water crisis or issue, that's all I want to say. So, after I have to ask you, when will you be coming back on TikTok
What's
again?
tomorrow? What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Wednesday. I could probably make some time Wednesday. Probably make some time Wednesday. Uh, it depends. I got some stuff to do in the morning, so if not Wednesday, Thursday for sure, but probably Wednesday.
No problem. Do you like the time slot that you've been
Yeah,
going
I feel like
on?
this is really our best time slot, personally.
Right. So maybe Chrono was joking or not, and maybe he was serious because he does. Anyway, but I just want everybody to understand that there are more than two parties, right? And so if I say I'm independent or non-party, that's just what it is. I've been telling my history of leaving the Democrat Party in 2016 when I had to choose between Hillary and Trump and feeling like crap, still casting a vote for Hillary after hearing the super predator, and I decided I would never feel that way again. So I encourage my people to understand that over 400 representatives are up for re-election, right? We are stuck in a cycle of always complaining. They're not doing nothing. Look at Levi Clark, Aaron Bell. But we have some of our people, not a lot, but I've interviewed a few running in various states. Please check your city and state and see who is running, who is new, who is for you, who is not. You don't have to stay stuck to the Democrat Party. That's the whole point. And just because we don't or we criticize Democrat does not necessarily mean we are Republican, but we are allowed to look at Republican candidates, okay? So don't let anybody make you feel bad just because you're going to criticize their party of choice. Everybody has an agenda. We do know the Democrats are for immigration, they're for the alternate communities, right? Therefore, a lot of things that some of us, it's just not beneficial for the whole of us. So you have a right to vote in your best interest, not for the best interest of everybody else who's always being selfish. We gave the Democrats 60 years and it just keeps getting worse for us. The same cities and states that he was mentioning are sanctuary cities, and they're doing horrible under the Democrats. We are allowed to change our choices, right? We are allowed to look policy over party loyalty because that's what our ancestors fought for. They didn't fight for us to remain stupid. And I guarantee you, right, if you're really tapped in, they will be proud that you are leading the charge in this here Black American Renaissance. And you're saying, wait, we see what they're doing. They can't find money for who they care about. We're going to demand they care about us. And if you look at our ancestors' history, they ain't never flee. We descend from the ones who stayed. And guess what? They made America show why America should care about them. And look, we sitting here with civil rights, 55K inventions, 22 music genres, and the wealthiest out of the melanated groups. So please, we don't have to remain stuck in a pattern that will not allow us to maintain what they built and what they on the life for. So, and that doesn't mean you're a Republican. I love us for real. I lean y'all.
Damn, my bad, y'all. I'm at work, in and out. So
No
sorry, I didn't even
problem.
get hit. Hit it. What the boys do said. I was here to her. You want to be a BX and him going back and forth. I wanted to hear that. Hey, greetings. Real quick, that close the thoughts down. Yeah, I second what BX just said. I think I just heard the last part of that. We don't gotta vote for no damn Democrats. We don't owe them no loyalty. They owe us. Honestly, both sides owe us. So wherever which way we want to go, wherever with the tangibles, resources, and policies for us, foundational Black Americans is where we should be at. Point blank. Period. Outside of that, we don't owe nobody a damn thing. Okay. But shout out to the chat. Shout out to the panel. I'm gonna see y'all
All right.
later.
I see y'all. Y'all have a good one. Y'all make sure y'all go to For the Culture on YouTube. All right.
You got to
Peace and
come
be
up with a
one.
page. Thank you, y'all. They tapped you up, Afro.